You're in Konoha, and you call these ninja tools? This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251, The Art of Ghostly Sprouting, Tianyu's Attitude. Orochimaru, a Brito, has used the Kira-Raga technique to live for so many years and still look like a teenager. He has also absorbed the bloodline limits of other people in the 5 great nations, and he is just one step away from becoming an immortal ninja. This is very similar to your reincarnation of the dead. Don't you want to do something? Tianyu said with a smile in a tempting tone. That look was completely different from his righteous appearance just now. When Orochimaru heard this, his pupils shrank slightly, and instantly turned into the vertical pupils of a snake, but soon recovered. From what you said, it seems that you are looking forward to me doing something. Orochimaru pretended to be relaxed. At the same time, Orochimaru looked at Tianyu's appearance, and a sentence came to his mind. Sure enough, squinting eyes are all monsters. What are you talking about? Senju Tobirama seemed to be a little bit wrong when he heard their words, and spoke directly. I almost forgot, there is also the second Hokage. I believe you must be very interested in the Kira-Raga technique. Tianyu continued to say with a smile. Tianyu, what are you talking about? The so-called Kira-Raga technique is a forbidden technique. It is a secret technique that takes someone else's bloodline limit as one's own. It is not a good thing at all. Tsunade said hurriedly. Tsunade didn't want Senju Tobirama to misunderstand Tianyu. There is no distinction between good and bad ninjutsu. The only difference is who it is used on. If it is used on the right person, it is a good thing. If it is used on the wrong person, it is the greatest sorrow. The current Kira-Raga jutsu is like this, if we can use it. I believe that with the help of the second Hokage and Orochimaru, we can improve this ninjutsu even better. In this way, Konoha can also cultivate more ninjas. Moreover, the so-called Kira-Raga jutsu itself is a very good research material, the research of bloodline limits. The major ninja villages have never stopped. If we can make good use of it, maybe we can develop something unprecedented. Tianyu smiled and looked at the 3 people. Then are you sure that Akira can give us the Kira-Raga jutsu? Orochimaru was obviously a little tempted and asked anxiously. I don't know, but no matter whether he is willing to give us the thing, we must get it. Orochimaru, how is your research on the 3 Magatama eyes? Tianyu smiled and looked at Orochimaru. You mean that? Because of Sasuke's existence, the research speed has been greatly improved. It's just that there is still a part that can't be broken through. But as long as I have some more time, I believe I can make the 3 Magatama eyes evolve again. Orochimaru said confidently. After all, his strength is mostly used in studying the human body. Especially the wonderful power of the Sharingan, which simply makes him intoxicated. Very good, I believe that after obtaining the Kira-Raga technique this time, you will be able to find out the secret of the Sharingan, but this still depends on the help of the second Hokage. Tianyu said and turned to look at Senju Tobirama. Tianyu didn't believe it. Senju Tobirama was a kind person. If the impure world reincarnation, an ninjutsu that can bring the dead back from the pure land, had not been experimented on living people, Tianyu would never believe it. Besides, the second Hokage might be a very upright person who could control a village from the Warring States period. However, he was definitely not a good person. Especially in suppressing the Uchiha clan, he did everything he could. And it was precisely because of Senju Tobirama's attitude that the tragedy of the Uchiha clan was determined. But this was also helpless. Because Uchiha Madara's power was too strong. Even Tianyu had to admit it. The descendants of Indra, although they inherited the sage body, not everyone is Senju Hashirama. Although the recovery ability and the amount of chakra make them stronger than most people. But compared with the Uchiha clan who can gain powerful power as long as the Sharingan is opened, they are still inferior. Especially those characters who got the main Gekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Madara, Uchiha Obito, Uchiha Itachi, and Uchiha Sasuke in the original work. These are all extremely powerful characters. On the other hand, in the Senju clan, except for Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama, there are not many ninjas who can show off. As for Tsunade, although she is also very powerful, but she is still not good enough in front of Uchiha Madara. In the later period, she was also beaten. I won't do these. Senju Tobirama frowned. Obviously, He did not agree with what Tianyu and Orochimaru said. Second Hokage, this is also for the good of Konoha. Moreover, if we can research the blood limit of the Sharingan, it will also make it easier for us to control the Uchiha clan, right? Tianyu said with a smile. Hearing this, Senju Tobirama was silent for a while. Tianyu was right. When he was still the second Hokage, he wanted to study the Sharingan. But at that time, although Uchiha Madara was gone, the Uchiha clan was still strong, and they could only do some small tricks to make them isolated and marginalized by the village. But if they wanted to attack the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, it would undoubtedly stimulate that clan and cause turmoil in Konoha. So Senju Tobirama has never been able to get a sample of the Sharingan. Uchiha Kagami is also his disciple, and he can't do anything to his own disciples. So he has been shelving it. Now that he has this opportunity, of course he will not let it go. After all, the person who claims to be Uchiha Madara is still alive in this world, so if he can find a way to restrain the Sharingan, it is undoubtedly a good thing. Tianyu looked at Senju Tobirama's silence and smiled immediately. Then I will take it as your consent. Tianyu, now the Uchiha of Konoha is only Uchiha Sasuke. How will you treat him in the future? The Uchiha clan is an evil clan. When they get too strong power, that power will affect their spirits and endanger the whole world, so you must restrain this power. We must never let this power control Konoha. The Uchiha clan must not be the Hokage. Senju Tobirama said firmly. Hearing this, Tianyu frowned slightly. Although everyone said that Konoha owed the Uchiha a Hokage position, Tianyu didn't think so. Except for a few people from the Uchiha clan, none of them were suitable for the position of Hokage. Chapter 252. The plan begins. They can be assistants to the Hokage, control the Anbu, and become the trump card of Konoha. But they cannot be decision makers, because their emotions will affect the future of Konoha. So in the future, Tianyu will cultivate the relationship between Sasuke and Naruto, so that they can continue the bond in the original work. In the future, they will protect Konoha together. But what Senju Tobirama said was indeed a bit too much. The Uchiha clan is an evil clan, so they suppress it everywhere. Even now, there are only a few people left in the Uchiha clan, but they still don't change their views. It's ridiculous. Konoha's future has its own development. Since we have broken the original old order, we should create a new future, so the old ideas in the past should naturally be abandoned. What's more, what Sarutobi Hiruzen did directly ruin the Uchiha clan, so the village must settle accounts with the past and repent. The attitude towards the Uchiha clan cannot be the same as before. This second generation Hokage, I hope you can understand. The Uchiha clan has never been an evil race. Tianyu said seriously. He said this not for the Uchiha clan, but just stated a principle. You must be on guard against others, but you must not have the intention to harm others. After losing Hashirama Senju, what Tobirama Senju did was indeed logical. But the Uchiha clan itself had no intention of rebelling against Konoha, otherwise when Uchiha Madara returned to Konoha and asked the Uchiha clan to leave with him, the Uchiha clan could have followed Uchiha Madara and left instead of continuing to choose to stay in the village. They all wanted to live a peaceful life, but they were forced to rebel by the village's higher-ranking officials. In the end, they even put the cart before the horse and killed the ninjas living in the village for the sake of the village. This is really ridiculous. Tobirama Senju remained silent. Tianyu, what are you going to do? Tsunade didn't know why, but she felt a little flustered when she saw Tianyu saying this. After all, Tobirama Senju was her second grandfather, but Tianyu said this, and she felt that there was some truth in it. So for a moment, Tsunade didn't know who she should help. Nothing, let's not talk about those overly heavy topics, Orochimaru. After I get the Kirei no Jutsu, everything will be up to you in the second Hokage, but before that, I want you to do something for me. Tianyu said with a smile, crossing his arms. You say. Orochimaru's mouth curled up, obviously agreeing to Tianyu's request. Go and stop those people sent by Baruhu to kill the envoys sent by the 5 major countries, and bring back their bodies. I believe you should be able to do this. Tianyu said with a smile. After all, Orochimaru's Atagakure has indeed cultivated some good ninjas. Although they are still not up to standard in Tianyu's eyes. No problem, Orochimaru nodded. Very good, then each of us will act. Tianyu said with a smile. Orochimaru quickly left the office and went to mobilize troops. As for Tsunade, she sat next to Tianyu. Tianyu, what you said just now. Tsunade bit her lower lip and didn't know what to say. Just think of me as someone who spoke too quickly. Don't think about what happened just now. I believe the second Hokage will be able to figure it out. Besides, we should be careful of Akatsuki. Kakuzu and Hiden are already dead. Hoshigaki Kisame has joined us, but there are still many experts around them. If we are not careful, we will still be defeated. Tianyu blinked and said. Okay. Tsunade stopped asking. Konoha was particularly cool at night. There was a breeze. Nearing the early morning, pedestrians on the streets of Konoha returned home one after another. Even the night market on the street had closed. There was silence all around, and occasionally a few birds could be heard in the night sky. It seemed particularly quiet. Kakashi lay on the bed, his will no longer resisted the puppet control technique in his mind. Soon, his consciousness was taken away by the puppet technique. Kakashi came out of his room and walked towards the gate of Konoha step by step. The two Chunins, Izumo and Katetsu, were guarding the gate of Konoha. The two were considered quite strong among the Chunins. They were often tasked with guarding the gate. Tonight was no exception. However, after the two had completed their duties, they decided to take a break. They saw Kakashi walking towards the village entrance step by step. Stop, Kakashi. Now Konoha has stopped people from entering and leaving. Even you, Kakashi, are no exception. Get out of the way. Izumo and Katetsu couldn't help but say. Kakashi was a Jonin and a disciple of the fourth Hokage, so his status was naturally different. The two couldn't help but use honorifics when talking to Kakashi. However, Kakashi couldn't hear them at all and kept walking forward. Then I'm sorry, Kakashi. Izumo and Katetsu looked at each other and saw a solemn look in each other's eyes. The two of them were definitely not Kakashi's opponents, but Kakashi's current state was a little wrong. Kakashi must not be allowed to leave Konoha. This was what Izumo and Katetsu were thinking now. After making the decision, Izumo and Katetsu rushed forward. Holding a kunai. Kakashi was very strong, so if they wanted Kakashi to stay, they had to take him by surprise. However, all this was in vain in the face of absolute strength. Kakashi attacked without hesitation, and almost instantly, he knocked both of them down. Then he walked away. No. Izumo fell to the ground. He forced himself to endure the pain in his body and wanted to report Kakashi's news. However, the next moment, Tianyu appeared in front of Izumo. Lord Tianyu, Kakashi. I know, Izumo, have a good rest. Tianyu nodded. After hearing Tianyu's words, Izumo closed his eyes with relief and fell into coma. Because they had to deal with Akunoki, their actions were kept secret. Izumo and Katetsu certainly didn't know. This was what they had discussed. They thought Kakashi had betrayed Konoha. Come on, send Izumo and Katetsu to Konoha Hospital for good treatment. Tianyu ordered the Anbu who followed him. Yes. Two Anbu in the shadows quickly appeared in front of Tianyu, knelt on one knee and saluted before taking Izumo and Katetsu away. Naruto, it's up to you guys from now on. Tianyu looked into the distance. Then he and Jiraiya also disappeared and followed behind Kakashi. Chapter 253, The Four Nations Envoys Being Sniped. At the same time, on the distant border, the envoys of the four major ninja villages were rushing to Konoha. However, the four people were blocked by different enemies on the way. Who are you? Temari from the Sands village held the fan tightly in her hand and looked at the man wearing the Konoha Ford protector in front of her. We are from Konoha, and we are ordered by the Hokage to kill you. The man answered without hesitation. No, you are not Konoha's ninjas. Temari was panicked when she heard this. But soon Temari calmed down. Although she had not seen all the ninjas of Konoha, she was sure that the man in front of her was definitely not a Konoha ninja. A ninja from a big village is not someone who can pretend to be a Konoha ninja just by wearing a Ford protector. It doesn't matter whether I am a Konoha ninja or not, because you will die soon, and then everyone will know that it was a Konoha ninja who killed you. The man laughed and said with a look of victory. Then he made a seal with both hands. Summoning, two-headed snake. Secret technique, snake binding. The man formed seals with his hands, and soon, when the smoke cleared, countless two-headed snakes attacked Temari directly. Facing thousands of two-headed snakes, even though Temari was a ninja, she couldn't help but take a step back. But soon, Temari clenched the fan in her hand. Wind escape, wind cut. Temari unfolded the three-star fan without hesitation and waved it forward vigorously. Suddenly, The wind in the air was compressed and killed the two-headed snakes like a sharp blade. Bang bang bang. The white mist came as the summoning disappeared. Temari also landed on the branch. And those commanding two-headed snakes have disappeared one after another. Not bad, but you don't want to live. The man sneered. He was not surprised by Temari's ability. Summoning, snake dance. Countless two-headed snakes appeared again, but this time there were hundreds of more giant snakes appearing on the ground. The moment these giant snakes appeared, they sprayed surging venom from their mouths. This venom is extremely corrosive. If you don't pay attention, it will corrode people into a pile of bones in an instant. Temari kept dodging on the branches in the air. But in the end, the venom still injured her arm. However, just when the venom was about to get rid of Temari, the next moment, boom! A larger summoned snake appeared in front of Temari. And the summoned beast that appeared. It was Orochimaru's summoned beast, the green snake. Temari landed on the head of the green snake. The green snake was more than 10 meters long. The moment it appeared in the forest, it directly crushed countless trees. Even the summoned snakes were pressed under him and crushed into flesh and blood. And the venom sprayed on the green snake had no effect at all. What a weak snake. The green snake spoke human words. Temari was stunned when she saw this scene. What a thing, blocking my good thing. The man's face changed drastically when he saw the green snake appear, and he couldn't help but say, "Wow, so this is the guy that Lord Orochimaru asked me to deal with. He is so weak." The green snake was a little disgusted with the man in front of him. After all, the man in front of him was so weak that he was embarrassed to regard him as an opponent. Stop it, the double snake dance. Countless snake heads appeared on the man's arms again, and many black blades spit out from the mouths of the snake heads. These blades were transformed by Gangtan. They can easily penetrate the defense of any ninja. But these black blades are still not enough for King Shu. How boring, considering that you tickled me, I will let you become my food. The green snake snorted coldly, and then twisted its body. Almost instantly, it swallowed the man in front of it into its stomach. The matter is resolved, you go to Konoha alone quickly, and I have to digest the food well. After the green snake said this, it directly cancelled the summoning and disappeared instantly. After the green snake disappeared, Temari didn't react for a while. She fell directly from the green snake's head to the ground. She fell on her butt. Fortunately, ninjas are all tough and strong, and Temari quickly climbed up. Although she was confused, she was saved. After taking a look at the mess around her, Temari sighed. Continue to Konoha. The same is true for other places. However, although Chijiro's strength is not yet at the level of Kage. But how can someone who can control one of the 7 ninja swords, the flounder, be a mediocre character? The man sent by Haruko to kill Chijiro was killed by him. The flounder emitted a light bubble and instantly pierced the body of the ninja who wanted to kill him. Hoo-hoo, Konoha ninja. Chijiro was a little confused. The ninja in front of him who wanted to kill him claimed to be a Konoha ninja. But Chijiro still knew some of Konoha's ninjutsu. The man who performed this man was not a Konoha ninjutsu at all, but rather a synthetic type of ninjutsu. Thinking of the words of the Mizukage, Chijiro put away the flounder and continued to Konoha. Whether the ninja who came to kill him was from Konoha, as long as he went to Konoha, everything would be revealed. In the distance, Hazuki and Tenbunjugo were in the distance. Wow, I didn't expect the ninja sent by the Mist Village to be so powerful. We didn't even have to do anything to solve it. But it's a pity. If it weren't for Lord Orochimaru's order, I really wanted to take that sword away. Hazuki smiled and showed a mouthful of shark teeth. After all, the 7 swords among the 7 ninja swordsmen have been in the hands of the Hazuki clan for generations. And Hazuki's obsession is to gather all the 7 swords in his hands. But now it seems that if he wants to realize this wish, he still needs a long way to go. Go back quickly. Tenbunjugo ignored Hazuki's words and turned and left. This side of the rock village. Hey, earth escape, super heavy rock technique. Kuratsuchi threw a punch, and with a loud bang, the body of another ninja exploded and died on the spot. After killing the ninja who attacked him, Kuratsuchi clapped his hands impatiently. Are the ninjas of Konoha only of this level? Kuratsuchi was a little skeptical. After all, her grandfather, the 2-day scale Inoki, said that Konoha is basically a place where many hidden dragons and crouching tigers are hidden, and you should never underestimate a ninja casually. She listened to it, so she took the person who attacked him seriously. But no matter what, The person in front of her was too weak. Maybe he is not a ninja of Konoha. Chapter 254 Safe Solution. Kuratsuchi frowned. He met the ninjas who came to rob and kill him on the way. It was as if he had calculated that other villages would send messengers to Konoha to inquire. If they weren't all dead, then the news that Konoha attacked and killed the messengers would spread. In this way, Konoha would also confirm the rumor that it was going to launch the Fourth Ninja World War. Then the other 4 villages would unite to attack Konoha. This was not a good thing for Konoha. Unless this was Konoha's strategy. Konoha really wanted to launch the Fourth Ninja World War. But launching the Fourth Ninja World War at this time was definitely an unwise thing to do. So Kuratsuchi had to go to Konoha no matter what. The messenger sent by the Cloud Village was Samu. This was a female ninja with a childlike face and huge breasts. She was very powerful and of course she spoke very little. Just as Samu was on her way to Konoha, she was stopped by someone. Today is the day you die. The ninja wearing a Konoha Ford protector attacked Samu. Countless detonating tags fell from the sky and landed directly beside Samu. Lord Raikage is right. Samu looked up at the sky. It turned out that the Konoha ninja rushing in front of her was just a puppet to attract her attention. The one who could really hurt her was the one who threw the detonating tags in the sky. But perhaps he had been prepared for it. When the detonating tags exploded, the ninja originally wanted to look for Samu's body in the ruins. But he saw a burst of white mist suddenly burst out from Samu's body. When the white mist dissipated. But he was directly hit by an elbow, and then a lightning bolt struck him without hesitation. The lightning flashed, and his arm immediately bleed. Looking around, Samu had already stood there on the tree. Now he was looking at the man expressionlessly. Just now, when the detonating tags fell, Samu had used the substitute technique to avoid this attack. You are very smart. You can dodge my detonating talisman. But I think he won't be able to dodge the next attack. The man said and attacked. A strange bird in the sky suddenly chirped. Then its feathers fell like needles in a rainstorm. Because of its special physique, each of its feathers is a detonating talisman. Not good. Seeing this, Samu turned around to hide. Binding array. But he was bound and caught by his feet. Samu was about to be blown into meat paste by the detonating talisman. The next moment, a man in a white robe appeared in front of Samu in an instant. Then, he kicked out and took Samu away from the area of the detonating talisman. Boom boom boom. Countless explosions sounded. When the explosions disappeared, looking at the ground again, deep pits had been blown out by the detonating talismans. Who are you? Samu looked at the white-haired man in front of him. He found that the white-haired man in front of him seemed to be more indifferent than her. It's not important. After the white-haired man replied, 10 fingers pierce bullets. Kimimaro slowly raised his hand, and the phalanges of his fingers shot out at high speed like 10 bullets. Seeing this scene, the man wanted to dodge, but in the end he was unable to avoid Kimimaro's attack, and his head was directly pierced by the phalanges of his fingers. The whole person fell to the ground, and there was no trace of his body. Hurry to Konoha, don't stop on the way. After saying this, Kimimaro disappeared directly into the forest. They were the messengers sent by Orochimaru to help the 4 major ninja villages and successfully arrived in Konoha. So when the danger of these messengers is lifted, they will leave. There will be no contact with these people. Samu looked at Kimimaro's leaving figure, frowning. Obviously, Samu also saw that the ninja who wanted to attack him just now was pretended by others. It was not a ninja from Konoha at all. It seems that this time, what Beru said was indeed a bit watery. After confirming the direction again, Samu moved his shoulders, which were a little stiff because of the big fear, and then headed directly towards Konoha. Tianyu and Jiraiya followed Kakashi all the way. Behind them was the pursuit team led by Naruto and his men. However, the pursuit team was just pretending to be there, just to confuse the enemy. They kept a distance from Kakashi and pretended to be chasing. And soon, they came to the border between Konoha and the Land of Grass. This is Mount Sumeru. It is the most vast mountain in the entire ninja world. Here, canyons, terrain and towering mountains exist together. Standing on the mountain, you can look down and see the clouds. This is an extremely beautiful place, but it is also dangerous. Every August, there will be continuous rain here. After the rain, there will be countless thunderstorms. If you enter Mount Sumeru at this time, you will be killed by thunderstorms if you are not careful. This is also the secret place of the entire land of grass. And Biruhu is hidden here. He needs to use the terrain of Mount Sumeru and the celestial image of the golden ring eclipse to absorb Kakashi's Sharingan. Let the 5 elements in his body grow together, so that he can become an immortal ninja. Possess absolute strength. Kakashi is still moving forward. The next moment, the road becomes more rugged and difficult to walk, and at the end of the road, a huge stone gate is tightly closed. Kakashi passed through the stone gate safely. Tianyu and Jiraiya followed closely. However, when they came near the stone gate, a very strong smell of blood came. Tianyu frowned immediately. If Tianyu's memory is correct, there will be a guardian at each of the 3 stone gates. The purpose is to stop the pursuit team that comes to chase Kakashi. But now Kakashi has passed the stone gate, and the so-called gatekeeper has not appeared yet. Lord Tianyu, Ino Shikacho, Neji and Naruto followed closely and appeared here together. Have you been stopped by anyone along the way? Tianyu looked at Naruto and asked. No, we were not chased. We came here very smoothly and did not encounter any enemies. Moreover, we followed Kakashi-sensei's instructions and kept a distance from him to avoid being seen through by the enemy. Naruto answered. Is that so? Tianyu frowned. If Naruto and his friends did not encounter any blockers, then there should be a gatekeeper here. Chapter 255 Special Reinforcements. But where did the gatekeeper go now? Could it be? Bang! The sound of a heavy object falling to the ground. Tianyu turned around immediately after hearing this sound. Then Tianyu saw a body appeared in Shimen Mountain. The body was obviously thrown down from a high altitude, and the limbs were smashed. Even blood was splattered everywhere. Judging from the appearance of the body, the death should be quite miserable. Tianyu walked forward to check the body. It was found that the body had died when it fell, and there were many traces of being pierced on the body. Obviously, the person who killed him should have used some kind of sharp object. It can be said that this body can almost be described as full of holes. Seeing this, Tianyu suddenly raised his head and looked at the sky. There was a fluctuation of space just now. Naruto looked at Tianyu's sudden thoughtful look and couldn't help but walk in front of Tianyu. Brother Tianyu, what's wrong with you? Naruto asked curiously. Nothing. It seems that someone has solved the obstacles along the way for us. Tianyu smiled. Huh? Naruto was confused. Okay, let's hurry up. After saying that, Tianyu and Jiraiya caught up with Kakashi again. As for Naruto, they continued to follow. Kakashi was very fast. Maybe Haruko couldn't wait any longer. Soon, they came to the second stone gate. Like the first stone gate, there was a strong smell of blood here. Even the body lying on the ground was exactly the same as the first body. The only difference was that Tianyu saw the remaining sawdust on the body. Would release. What? After hearing what Tianyu said, Jiraiya also stepped forward to carefully examine the body. Sure enough, the scars on the body were the marks left by wood release, the stick insertion technique. Wood release, besides the Hokage of the first generation, only Yamato can use it, but Taiga is still in Konoha now, he definitely can't come here, so who else can use wood release? Jiraiya frowned. The wood release of the first generation Hokage was extremely powerful. It could even restrain the tailed beast. For all talents, wood release is very remarkable. So after knowing that there are other wood release ninjas, even Jiraiya changed his face. I don't know, but I think since he is willing to help us, he must be a friend, not an enemy in this matter. Tianyu said with a smile. Tianyu has been able to determine who they are, the fluctuations in space and wood release. This person must be Uchiha Obito. In this way, he is not a nameless person as he said. If there is a chance, maybe Obito can be persuaded to return to Konoha. After all, Tianyu knows that the so-called Moon Eye plan is simply a plan by the filial son to revive his mother's naivety. Those people will indeed be trapped in the illusion, and they can indeed obtain a false peace. But those who are hit by the Moon Eye will gradually transform into white Zetsu under the wrapping of the sacred tree. Let's go. Tianyu continued. Okay. At this moment, Jiraiya wanted to find Biruhu as soon as possible. Then ask him why he did this. So when Tianyu spoke, Jiraiya nodded directly. The two continued to the next stone gate. The road ahead was even more rugged and difficult to walk. If the two of them were not ninjas, then the road in front of them would be like a natural barrier for them. Two mountain ranges with almost a right angle of 90 degrees formed a narrow valley. But it would be better to say it was a 1,000-foot abyss rather than a valley. This abyss is bottomless. If you want to pass this place, you can only use the trees growing on the cliffs to move forward. Each tree is 15 meters long. And the trees are not thick, which requires you to have absolute control over your body. Otherwise, you will fall directly from the branches into the 1,000-foot cliff. At that time, even if you are a ninja, I am afraid that you will only become a pool of meat paste if you fall from such a high place. Tianyu and Jiraiya had no problem with this road. They followed Kakashi and went straight through the canyon. Finally, they came to the last stone gate. Just like before, there was a corpse on the ground. The corpse had a hideous face and the smell of blood was everywhere. It can be seen that the person who took action must have been in a very bad mood when dealing with this corpse. After passing through this stone gate, you can come to the real Mount Sumeru, which is the real base camp of Biruhu. Tianyu and Jiraiya watched Kakashi walk to the last stone gate and then disappeared in an instant. After that, they also stopped. Jiraiya, send a message to Naruto and the others, and ask them to return to Konoha as soon as possible. Tianyu ordered. This was what they had agreed on long ago. Once they found Biruhu's trace, Naruto and the others would immediately withdraw to Konoha. Okay. Jiraiya nodded, then took out a flare and ignited it directly. The flare instantly shot straight into the sky. A firework exploded in the sky. After seeing the fireworks, Shikamaru and his friends stopped immediately. Lord Amaji is sending us a signal. They have found Haruko. Let's leave the rest of them. Let's leave. After seeing the signal, Shikamaru was about to leave with everyone. If you want to leave, go ahead. I will never leave. But Naruto refused their request. What, Naruto? Don't be impulsive. This is Lord Amaji's order. Shikamaru looked at Naruto and said. Because Amaji made Naruto's identity public, other people in Konoha no longer dared to order Naruto around easily. In addition to Amaji and Tsunade's attitude towards Naruto, Naruto's current status in Konoha is just like Konohamaru's status in Konoha. But unlike Konohamaru, Naruto is not a willful person who plays pranks casually because his grandfather is the Hokage. Although Naruto did play pranks everywhere to attract everyone's attention, he has corrected it now. Kakashi is my teacher, and Tengo is my elder brother. He is a good, sexy sage. Although he is a little weird, he is very kind to me. He is also my father's teacher. I am also a little worried about that guy, Haruko. I must make sure that Kakashi and the others are safe before I leave, Naruto said firmly. But Shikamaru wanted to say something else. Chapter 256, Arrogance. But Naruto had already started to move, leaving them behind. You guys hurry back, I will take the initiative to explain this matter to Lady Tsunade after I return to the village. Naruto's words came from far away. What should we do now? The remaining three people stared at Shikamaru. They didn't know what to do. What else can we do? Go after him, Naruto can't get into trouble. It's really troublesome. Shikamaru sighed helplessly, and then took everyone to take the initiative to chase after him. Please stop, both of you. The phantom of Akiru appeared in front of Tianyu and Jiraiya. Akiru, what do you want to do? Jiraiya saw Akiru appear, and he couldn't hold back any longer and began to question him. It's Jiraiya. After more than 10 years, you look alive and well, and you have become one of the 3 legendary ninjas in Konoha. Akiru smiled and greeted Jiraiya. Stop talking nonsense. Your real body should be in Mount Sumeru, waiting to absorb the last blood limit to make yourself an immortal perfect ninja. Tianyu said impatiently while watching Biluo watching the movie. So what Tianyu hates most is this kind of people who don't know the height of the sky and the depth of the earth. They don't even know who the strongest person in the ninja world is. They think that they can become a perfect person by finding a few blood limits at random, and thus unify the entire ninja world. This is simply a joke. Not to mention Senju Hashirama, I'm afraid that even in front of Uchiha Madara or even Uchiha Obito, Biluo is an existence that can be easily solved. It's not a good thing at all, but just a jumping clown. Arrogant. Sibling in the well. That's right. As long as I use the Kiraraya technique, I can become a perfect ninja. At that time, no one will be my opponent. I will become the most perfect existence and dominate the whole world. Biluo obviously approved of his plan. Hearing this, Tianyu sneered and didn't want to talk to this fool anymore. But Jiraiya couldn't care less. Hirohu, Tell me why you did that? You are ninja of Konoha, right? The things you did before made Konoha the focus of other villages and almost caused a war. Do you want to completely destroy Konoha? Jiraiya asked, unable to hold back his emotions. Haha, in Konoha village, there used to be a man named Haruko. This man had always dreamed of today. Yes, Kakashi was a puppet, and the curse was a long time ago. You, Tsunade, and Orochimaru and I used to be very good friends, but my strength was not as strong as yours, and even my talent was far inferior. When you became ninjas who could dominate the victory of a battle on the battlefield, I could only be an unknown cannon fodder in the crowd, and even sacrifice my life at any time. So at that time I was thinking, if I could have your talent and strength, then could I become a more powerful ninja than you? So I began to study the Kidoya technique seriously, and finally, I succeeded in my research, and I also saw the appearance of Kakashi's bloodline limit after it was transplanted, the Sharingan. What a wonderful power! If it could appear on me, then I would definitely become stronger, strong enough to defeat everyone I can see. This is my goal. I exist to dominate the entire ninja world, and after I succeed, you will become my slaves and be ruled by me. Jiraiya, I am willing to give you a chance. As long as you are willing to submit to me and obey my orders, I can give you everything when I succeed. Haruko was still dreaming about the joy after his success. He even began to fantasize about what would happen after he ruled the world. What are you talking about? Are you actually fantasizing about this happening? Jiraiya was stunned when he heard this. He didn't expect that Haruko really wanted to rule the whole world. He thought that Haruko had taken the wrong path and had no choice. But he didn't expect that he was actually such a heartless person. Tianyu looked at Jiraiya with an unbelievable look on his face. He walked to here and stood in front of Jiraiya and patted him on the shoulder. Okay, I know you don't want to think too badly of your companions, but he is different from Orochimaru. He is a real pervert. Tianyu said helplessly. Yes, I am indeed too naive. Next, I will not show mercy. I will definitely catch you with my own hands. Jiraiya's expression became firm. Let's go. This time, Jiraiya did not need Tianyu to urge him, and he took the initiative to move deeper. Behind them, Naruto was trying hard to catch up with him. After a few minutes of walking, Tianyu and his friends finally arrived at the base camp of Biluhu. In the center of Mount Sumeru, there was an extremely large palace. The palace was built in the center of the mountains, and there was a dazzling light shining around it. Those are lightning attribute ores. Jiraiya stopped and frowned as he looked at the glittering stones around him. Well, I saw it too. Since there are so many ores here, I have to take them reluctantly. I can take them back to make ninja tools. Tianyu said with a smile. And just in front of the palace, Kakashi walked forward slowly, like a puppet without consciousness. Jiraiya, and Tianyu, right? I saw you fighting in Konoha before. You were really powerful, you know? I envy you talented ninjas the most. You can often be as powerful as others in 10 years in 1 year. You are still a teenager, but you already have the power beyond the cage level. This is something that many people can't get in their lifetime. I used to be such a person, but now I have the Kidoya technique. I can take all the talents of you geniuses into my own body. Then I will become the most powerful person. Footsteps were heard. Biluhu walked out of the palace slowly. He still looked like a teenager. He was very well behaved, with long silver white hair. He looked like an ordinary child from another family. But in fact, there lived a very crazy person in his heart. Well, it's a good idea, but you are too weak. Tianyu sneered. Then come and try it. Biluhu was angered by Tianyu's attitude. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257, One Hit Kill, Murasame's First Use. No matter how powerful Biluhu is now, he always feels inferior when facing a truly powerful genius. But he often uses anger to cover up this inferiority. Now, it is no exception. Storm release, thundercloud cavity wave. Biluhu quickly formed a seal, and then he could see thunderclouds rolling in the sky. Then, thunderbolts fell from the thunderclouds one after another. The speed of these thunderbolts was extremely fast, and they almost killed Tianyu and Jiraiya in an instant. More thunderbolts surged to Tianyu's side. After all, compared to Jiraiya, it was Tianyu who had just mucked him, who made him unable to hold back the murderous intent in his heart. Boom! Thunderbolts fell from the sky one after another. They kept attacking the stomach of the big toad. Tianyu and the others hid in the stomach of the big toad, listening to the sound of thunderbolts coming from outside. HMPH, Jiraiya, I hope you and your companion can hide in the turtle shell for a lifetime. Biliu, who was helpless with a toad's stomach. He waved his hands. These thunderbolts merged together, and with the thunder-attributed minerals around the palace, the entire palace was instantly formed into a sea of thunder. Anyone who dared to step into this sea of thunder would be turned into ashes by the surging thunderbolts. If you have the ability, come over and rescue Kakashi. But I think you should be able to become a group of people who witness my immortality. As a reward for you, when my immortality becomes a reality, I will send all of you to the Pure Land. Biliu laughed and turned away. Behind Biliu, Kakashi followed him into the palace. Damn, what should I do? If only I could fly. After Jiraiya withdrew his ninjutsu, he looked at the sea of thunderbolts around him and felt a little anxious. Now they were only one step away from taking Kakashi away. But even at such a close distance, they were blocked by the sea of thunder. As long as they couldn't fly, they would be trapped here. Tianyu. Jiraiya was still here, worrying about how to cross the sea of thunder. He saw the wind wings behind Tianyu stretched out, and Tianyu's body was already in the air. I'll go deal with Naruto. As for you, Jiraiya, remember to stop Naruto. After saying this, Tianyu rushed directly into the palace. Tianyu. Jiraiya wanted to say something, but saw Naruto rushing over behind him. Behind Naruto, Shikamaru, Ino, Choji and Neji were also running towards them. What's going on? Naturally, he looked at them curiously. According to their original plan, these people should have gone back long ago. Yes, Naruto, after receiving the order to retreat, we planned to go back, but Naruto was really worried about Kakashi-sensei, so he ran all the way here, so we had no choice but to follow him. Jiraiya, how is the adult now? Where is Master Amerji? Shikamaru briefly introduced the situation on their side, and then looked at Jiraiya and asked. Yes, where's Brother Amerji? Naruto asked anxiously. He went in, let us wait for him here, and Naruto, let me remind you again here, although I understand that you are worried about Kakashi, you are ninja, and ninjas must obey orders. If I see you next time and you still disobey orders like this, then I will ask your brother Amerji to punish you. Jiraiya looked at Naruto and scolded. After all, Naruto is now fearless, and he can even argue with Tsunade. But Naruto is most afraid of Amerji. After all, Amerji is different from others. Yes, I know. Naruto was a little helpless and had to nod. The sea of thunder still exists around them. Naruto and his friends tried several times to cross it. However, the distance that seemed very close at ordinary times became a natural barrier at this moment. No one dared to step into the sea of thunder easily. After all, they were also mortals. Once they entered, they might lose their lives. Don't waste your energy, Naruto. Next, let's rely on Tianyu. He will definitely bring Kakashi back safely. Jiraiya looked at Naruto and said. Well, I believe that Tianyu brother can do it. Naruto nodded. Tianyu entered the palace. Although the palace was built very large, it was extremely empty inside. Except for the necessary props, there was nothing else. Connecting to the main hall was a huge staircase. Going up the stairs, Tianyu saw Biliu and the ninjas from other countries he had captured. They were tied to the pillars. As long as they waited until the golden ring eclipsed the sun, they would be completely absorbed. By that time, Biliu would become a perfect ninja. You're here, what a pity, the Kiraya technique is about to be completed, you have no hope. Hiruhu sneered when he saw Tianyu walking into the palace. That's not necessarily true. Tianyu was in danger, holding tightly in his hand the sword that would kill Murasame with one strike. Tianyu has never used this long sword since it was forged. Today, it's just right to use Hiruhu to be the first person to kill. However, before using it, even Tianyu has to be careful when using this sword. Otherwise, if he accidentally touches himself, he will definitely die. You can't hurt me. Hiruhu was very confident. Although he has absorbed 4 bloodline limits, he is not immortal now, but he has long surpassed ordinary cage-level strongmen. Even Jiraiya standing in front of him now may not be his opponent. Not to mention Tianyu. Then give it a try. Tianyu smiled. Storm escape, storm ghost dragon. Biluhu laughed loudly, and waved his hands instantly. In the palace, a black dragon flew up to the sky and died, and infinite thunder power emerged. The wind pressure from all around surged, and the hair of Tianyu under pressure was constantly flying. The angry dragon in the sky rushed down directly. The power of this ninjutsu is not even weaker than the S-level ninjutsu, Kirin. But all this is still not enough for Tianyu. Flying Thunder God Slash. Tianyu performed Flying Thunder God Slash, but at this moment, what appeared in his hand was no longer bitter, but a one-hit kill, Murasame. Tianyu knew that he was taken away by Biluhu, another kind of blood limit, swift escape. This blood limit can increase Biluhu's speed to the extreme. So he must kill with one blow, and can't let Biluhu have any breath. Boom. What? Biluhu didn't expect Tianyu's speed to be so fast. After being stunned for a while, he wanted to solve it. Chapter 258, A Deadly Situation. But a trace of blood. Following his steps, it dripped onto the ground. Then, Biluhu felt his eyes go dark, and his heart seemed to be caught by something, and suddenly he felt an extremely sharp pain. Ah, what's going on? Biluhu fell to the ground, and dark black bloodlines began to appear on his skin. This was the effect of the poison of Murasame, which could kill with one blow. As long as he was hit by Murasame's slash, no matter how small the wound was, the poison would enter the human body through the wound. And this poison could not be cured. In other words, Biluhu could only wait to die now. You are poisoned. Tianyu slowly walked in front of Biluhu, looked at him and said, "What? No, this is impossible." Biluhu wanted to refute Tianyu's words after hearing what he said. But before he finished speaking, blood kept flowing out from the corners of his mouth. It flowed out from his 7 orifices, and there was no way to stop it. Nothing is impossible, Hiruko. You want to become a perfect ninja and make yourself the strongest. There is nothing wrong with that, but you took the wrong path. Relying on devouring other people's bloodline limits to make yourself stronger is putting the cart before the horse. In the end, you can only become a tragedy. After Tianyu said this, he stopped talking nonsense with Hiruko. He walked directly to Kakashi and patted his shoulder. In an instant, the confusion in Kakashi's eyes disappeared, and the puppet technique was lifted. Lord Tianyu, how is it? After waking up, Kakashi asked about Hiruko's situation as soon as possible. It's been resolved. Tianyu pointed at Hiruko, who was lying on the ground in pain. Kakashi looked in the direction of Tianyu's finger. When he saw Hiruko's miserable appearance, Kakashi could only sigh helplessly. Hiruko could have lived a good life in Konoha, even if his own power was not strong, and he could not become a Jonin in the end. But if he had not studied the Kadoga technique, he could still live well now. He would not die. Kakashi, no. At the last moment of his life, Hiruko still did not repent. He stretched out his hand and tried hard to grab Kakashi. It seemed that he still wanted to fight with Kakashi for the last time, so that he could become a perfect ninja of the 5 elements. But until the end, when his power was gone and his life came to an end, he still could not touch the corner of Kakashi's clothes. Hiruko ended up like this, and it was all his own fault. But his ending was also very sad. After all, Hiruko was also a member of Konoha. Tengo, how is it? When Hiruko died, the Sea of Thunder outside also disappeared. Jiraiya and Naruto rushed directly to the palace. So Jiraiya saw that Hiruko was dead at the first time. I don't know why, Jiraiya felt a little sad. Anyway, Hiruko was his friend at the beginning. Like Tsunade and others, they were once best partners. But in the end, Konoha was betrayed by Hiruko. It must be said that this is a kind of sadness. Hiruko, I hope you can rest in peace. If there is reincarnation, you should be an ordinary person in your next life, not a ninja anymore. Jiraiya looked at Hiruko and muttered to himself. After saying this, Jiraiya wrapped Hiruko's body with white cloth and put a sealing talisman on it. The corpse of a ninja also contains information, especially Hiruko himself, who has practiced a Kidorage technique. His body contains 4 bloodline limits, so his body must not be leaked. Brother Tianyu. Naruto didn't know why, looking at Hiruko's body, he suddenly felt a little sad. Well, everything is settled, Naruto. Tianyu looked at Naruto. Speaking of Konoha, The fact that Haruko could happen was also related to Sarutobi Hiruzen's policy. Since Haruko was able to develop a secret technique like the Kitaraga technique, it is enough to show that he, like Orochimaru, has a high talent for scientific research. If Sarutobi Hiruzen could have helped Haruko properly, Haruko wouldn't have become what he is now. But there is no point in saying more. What has happened cannot be changed. All Tianyu and the others can do is to prevent it from happening again. That's all. Yes. Naruto nodded. Let's go back. Tianyu turned and left. Jiraiya carried Haruko's body on his back and left with Tianyu. Ino, Shikacho and Niji also followed Tianyu. Kakashi also left with Tianyu. But when he was about to leave, Kakashi turned around as if he had sensed something. But there was naturally nothing behind him. Kakashi didn't hesitate and left directly. After everyone left, there was a sudden crease in the void. After the crease disappeared, a man wearing a shit yellow mask stood silently on the top of the palace, watching the backs of them leaving. Next to the man, a person with aloe vera-like hair emerged from the ground. Obito, you came after all. Actually, it was a good opportunity just now. You could have taken the Sharingan. Black Zetsu said with a smile. Obito did not speak. He waited until the backs of the group turned into a black dot and could not be seen. Then Obito left directly. He did not answer Black Zetsu's words the whole time. Tianyu and the others returned to Konoha as quickly as possible. After letting Naruto, Ino, Shikajo and Niji go back, Tianyu brought Kakashi and Jiraiya to the Hokage's office. Fortunately, we have accomplished our mission and solved it. Jiraiya put the body of Obito on the ground and said, "Is this Obito? He doesn't look that good. I thought his Chiriga jutsu would be so powerful, but it's just so-so." Jiraiya, when they came back, Orochimaru was of course the first to come to the Hokage's office. He was also interested in the Chiriga jutsu. Don't talk nonsense. Chiriga still has its merits, but he used it in the wrong place. The second generation Hokage, Senju Tobirama, also walked into the Hokage's office and just happened to answer what Orochimaru said. Yes, I think the application of various ninjutsu has its advantages. When we study the Kurama technique later, we should also study it carefully. This is right. Orochimaru changed his tone immediately after hearing what Tobirama Senju said. Chapter 259 Meeting with Envoys from the Four Major Nations. PFFT. Jiraiya couldn't help laughing at this double standard. After all, Orochimaru has always acted like he doesn't care about anyone since he became an adult. It's rare for him to be defeated by Tobirama Senju. Orochimaru glared at Jiraiya fiercely, but he didn't say anything. Since the body of Obito has been found, Konoha's intelligence department will also extract intelligence from the body. When the intelligence extraction is completed, it will be available for your research. However, Tango, the four major countries have sent envoys here. They are still staying in Konoha. You may have to meet them later. Tsunade was a little dazed when she looked at Obiru's body. After all, Obiru and she were friends. But after the days, Tsunade talked about business. The ninja villages of the 5 major countries sent envoys to ask Konoha to give an explanation for Obiru's matter. Then Konoha must make a response. Now that Obiru's matter has been resolved, it's time to deal with those envoys. Well, don't worry, I will go to see them later. If the messenger is dealt with, then the body of Akira will be left to Orochimaru in the second Hokage. However, if we want to study it, everything must be done in secret, and not a single cell of Akira's body can be leaked out, otherwise, I am afraid it will have some impact on Konoha. Tianyu looked at Orochimaru and Senju Tobirama and said seriously. Don't worry about this, I understand, but don't worry too much. The impure world reincarnation ninjutsu requires many restrictions, and it is not something that can be performed by anyone. Orochimaru said proudly. Ahem. Hearing this, Senju Tobirama couldn't help coughing. Do you think I'm right, second Hokage? Orochimaru heard the cough, so he hurriedly added another sentence. This sentence made everyone laugh for a while. If there's anything else, just leave it to me. Tianyu, thank you this time. I'm leaving first. Jiraiya knew that he had nothing to do here, so he left the Hokage's office after thanking Tianyu. Orochimaru and Senju Tobirama also left with the body of Akunoki. As for Kakashi, Tianyu had thrown Kakashi to the Konoha hospital when he returned to Konoha, asking him to have a thorough physical examination. After all, puppetry is not a good thing. Although Akunoki is dead, it is better to get rid of it as soon as possible. Only Tianyu and Tsunade were left at the scene. Well, Tianyu, thank you this time. Tsunade bit her lip and looked at Tianyu, and she seemed a little shy for a moment. After all, if Tianyu hadn't been there this time, Akunoki's problem would not be solved, and perhaps the whole Konoha would suffer. It would be difficult to explain to the daimyo. Do we need to say thank you to each other? What's more, I was the one who made Konoha what it is today. I naturally can't just watch Konoha decline. And that guy, Haruko, deserves it. Tianyu crossed his arms and smiled. Well, I know. I just think it's really good to have you by my side. Every time, no matter what happens, I can feel at ease. Tsunade said with a smile. To be honest, Tsunade didn't know why she had such thoughts about Tianyu. After all, Tianyu is only a 13-year-old boy now. But every time Tianyu said something and did something, Tsunade ignored it. Instead, she treated Tianyu as a peer. Naturally, some other emotions would appear. But Tsunade didn't dare to express this emotion. After all, Tianyu now has a fiancée. Hinata is a very good woman, the heir of the main family of the Hyuga clan, and more importantly, Tianyu likes Hinata. Don't worry, I will always stay by your side to help you. Tianyu said with a smile. After saying this, Tianyu smiled and turned away. The next day, early in the morning, Aim and Tsunade received the ninjas from the 4 major ninja villages in the reception room. Hokage-sama, I hope you can give us an answer about what happened to those things that Abiru said? Is Konoha really going to be an enemy of the 4 major countries? Kuratsuchi spoke first. Yes, Mizukage-sama. I also want to know what is going on with Abiru. Chijuro also spoke. And here, Rikage-sama also wants to know whether what Abiru said is the truth, and whether Konoha is really preparing to attack the 4 major countries. Samu also asked directly. And here, Grandma Chiao also wants to know this. Temuri's age and status are the weakest among these envoys. But these are the best candidates that Sans village can send as envoys. I can tell you clearly here that Haruko is no longer a ninja of Konoha. He left Konoha during the 3rd Ninja World War. Now he is just a traitor and has no relationship with Konoha at all. The reason why he said that in front of you is actually just because he wants everyone to target Konoha. In order to achieve his ulterior ambition, he has collected bloodline limit ninjas from your ninja villages and wants to use the Kidoya technique to absorb their bloodline limit and add Konoha's Sharingan, so that he can make the 5 elements coexist and become an immortal perfect ninja, but he needs time before that. So he can only send people to delay Konoha so that Konoha can't spare any hands to deal with him. I believe that you must have encountered the ninjas sent by Haruko to attack on the way here. Tianyu looked at them and said. Yes, I did encounter them, but I had already repelled them. Kuratsuchi nodded without hesitation. Chijuro also nodded. Samu and Temuri also nodded. But I couldn't beat that person. In the end, someone else came to save me. I think that person should be a ninja from Konoha. Samu said slowly, hugging her arms. Because of her action, the big balls on her chest became more magnificent. Seeing the women around, except Tsunade, they all looked unhappy. Ahem. Tianyu took a look and quickly retracted his gaze. And me, I was also attacked by ninjas on the road. They claimed to be ninjas from Konoha, but I could tell that they were not. The one who came to save me didn't seem to be Konoha's summoning beast, but he protected me. Temuri recalled the giant snake and was a little scared. Chapter 260 The Threat from the Cloud Village. After all, the giant snake was too powerful. It didn't do anything, just crushed and killed all the opponents. I sent them to protect you. I knew that Haruko would definitely send ninjas disguised as Konoha ninjas to kill you on your way to Konoha. In this way, if you die, the people of the 4 major countries will think that this is Konoha's plan and will attack Konoha together. So only if you are alive can you prove that this is just Haruko's trick. And now, what's more important is that Haruko is dead. He was killed by the ninjas we sent. You don't have to worry about what kind of war Haruko is starting. I hope you can explain the truth to the cage after you go back, and don't fall into the enemy's trap. Tianyu looked at everyone and said. Oh, is Haruko really dead? Chijuro couldn't wait to ask after hearing this. Yes, his body has been brought back to Konoha. If you don't believe it, you can go and see it with your own eyes later. In addition, all his subordinates have been killed, and the Kiraraga technique has been destroyed. It will never appear again in the future. We have also brought back the ninjas from your village. We have preserved their bodies intact. You can also take them back and bury them properly when you go back. Tianyu said. That's no problem. As long as this matter has nothing to do with Konoha, I believe that Lord Mizukage will be able to figure it out. Chijiro nodded. After all, everything in the Mist Village is in ruins now. If there is no war, it would be the best. Well, thank you Lord Tianyu. After hearing this, Temari couldn't help but nod. Since Akira is dead, we will not pursue this matter, but Konoha still has to apologize to us for this matter. After all, this matter was caused by you. Kuratsuchi said with his arms folded. Kuratsuchi, who was wearing a cheongsam, had a pretty good figure, especially her legs, which were even longer. How did you say that? I can play with these legs for a year. That's no problem. I'll write a letter later and ask you to take it back to the Tsuchikage. Tsunade also spoke up. Yes. Kuratsuchi nodded. Since Akuroku is dead, in order to appease the villagers of the Kumagakure, I think we should take Akuroku's body back. This will not only appease the villagers, but also allow Konoha and Akuroku to draw a clear line. Samu directly asked for Akuroku's body. After all, Samu didn't believe that the Kirara Jutsu would be destroyed by Konoha like this. This is a very good forbidden technique. If used properly, it is very likely to greatly increase a person's combat power. This is a good thing for the entire Kumagakure. However, Konoha will definitely not agree to directly ask for the Kirara Jutsu, so the only option is to ask for Akuroku's body. Hearing this, Tianyu frowned. Even Tsunade was a little unhappy. The Kumagakure was plotting to take away the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. Fortunately, it didn't succeed, but it also forced Hyuga Hayashi's brother Hyuga Hayashi to death. From this point of view, the Kumagakure and Hyuga Hayashi have a grudge, and in several wars, the Kumagakure was even the enemy of Konoha and slaughtered many Konoha ninjas. It can be counted that the Kumagakure and Konoha have a feud. Besides, Samu wanted to take back the body of Haruko, and Tianyu and the others knew it very well. It was just that they wanted to study Haruko's body and dig out the Kirara technique for their own use. There was no need to say it so grandly. Sorry, this is not possible. Although Haruko has left Konoha, he is still a traitor of Konoha. We have already dealt with his body and are about to bury it, so Konoha cannot agree to your request. Tsunade directly refused. Oh, if that's the case, then Konoha's sincerity is a little insufficient. Now that Haruko is dead, no one can prove Konoha's innocence, and you can talk to yourselves. So I think our Kumagakure should also retain the most basic right to question, so if I can't bring Haruko's body back, Rikage-sama will send more people next time, but the people sent next time may not be as easy to talk to as me. Samu looked at Amaji and Tsunade with a cold face. Samu still treated the present Konoha as the past Konoha as always. He spoke without hesitation and threatened as soon as he opened his mouth. Hearing Samu's words, several people around were a little stunned. Especially Temari, she didn't expect Samu to dare to talk to Amaji and Tsunade of Konoha like this. After all, Tsunade is the Hokage, and Amaji, although not the Hokage, is not inferior to Tsunade and Konoha. Sometimes, even Tsunade can't change the decision made by Amaji. He has an absolute status and strength in Konoha. No matter what, the envoys sent by other villages should maintain the most basic respect for the Hokage of another village and his assistants. And what Samu said was indeed a bit too much. It was like rubbing Konoha's face on the ground. Chijiro and Kuratsuchi did not speak. They were not fools. The Cloud Village must have their support when they said this, and their original purpose was to find out whether Konoha did it. Now that they already know that this matter is a conspiracy by Akunoki to provoke the 4 major countries to target Konoha, they will certainly not carry out it according to Akunoki's intentions. So now they all treat it as a good show. It's just right to see what the difference is between the current Konoha and the Konoha when the 3rd generation Hokage was in power. Oh. Tianyu's face immediately turned ugly after hearing this. Tsunade's face was even darker. Is this a threat to the Cloud Village? Tianyu sneered. We are not threatening anyone, we are just telling the truth. Besides, the Cloud Village has already made comprehensive preparations. Whether in terms of strength or ninjas, we have the capital to do this, and Konoha has just experienced a battle. I'm afraid this will also reduce your combat effectiveness, so the request I just made, to bring Haruko's body back to the Cloud Village, is a very good suggestion, so I hope you will consider it carefully. I will stay in Konoha for 3 days, And I hope I can get a satisfactory answer within 3 days. Samu looked at Aim and Tsunade and smiled. Chapter 261 Nuclear Level Deterrence. No need. Tianyu sneered when he heard this. I can answer you now. This is impossible. You are dreaming. Let alone 3 days, even 30 days or 300 days, our answer is still the same. Everything in Konoha is still in ruins. You are not welcome to live here for the time being, so please leave after today. Oh, by the way, I don't know what you think, but Konoha today is no longer the Konoha during Sarutobi Hiruzen's reign. If you still confuse the current Konoha with the previous Konoha, then the various actions of Konoha in the future are likely to disappoint you. Also, we remember every blood debt in the past and never forget it, so please remember not to anger Konoha. Tianyu looked at Samu and said, You. Samu wanted to say something. The door of the reception room was suddenly pushed open. Granddaughter, when are you going back for dinner? I've already prepared mushroom rice for you, and Tobirama is waiting for you there. Even if work is important, you can't forget to eat. Hashirama Senju pushed open the door of the reception room and smiled at Tsunade. He didn't look like the legendary god of ninja at all, but just like an ordinary ninja. But the appearance of Hashirama Senju made the reception room suddenly become silent. Samu opened her mouth, but didn't know what to say, so she could only close it in the end. Even Kuratsuchi, Chijiro, and Temari were stunned by the appearance of Hashirama Senju. Of course, they all knew Hashirama Senju, and they were taught how powerful Hashirama Senju was since they were young. Especially the status of the god of ninja is unshakable. Uchiha Madara, like him, also has the nickname of Shura of the ninja world. This is the definition of their power. Oh, Grandpa, I will go back after we finish discussing these things. Tell the second grandpa to spend less time in the laboratory and stop studying those messy ninjutsu. Otherwise, Konoha may have to add a lot of S-level ninjutsu in a few days. How can Konoha have so many people to practice so many ninjutsu day by day? It's obviously a limited edition ninjutsu, but in the end, S-level ninjutsu is like a street, everywhere in Konoha. Doesn't the second grandpa have any face? Tsunade heard this and said helplessly. It has to be said that Tsunade's words are indeed a bit high-level Versailles. Hearing this, everyone vomited blood in their hearts. What is S-level ninjutsu like cabbage everywhere in Konoha? Can S-level ninjutsu be created if it can be created? Wait. You said Senju Tobirama. Well, it is really possible. After all, at least half of the ninjutsu on Konoha's forbidden scrolls were created by Senju Tobirama. In addition to being the second-generation Hokage, this guy is also a mad scientist. Things like impure world reincarnation, flying thunder god, multiplication detonation talisman, etc., were all invented by the second-generation Hokage. And these ninjutsu are all S-level. So, in the scientific research of the ninja world, the second-generation Hokage, Senju Tobirama, is always YYDs. Okay, I'll tell him later, then I'll leave first. And Tianyu, no matter how busy you are, don't forget to eat. Come back with Tsunade later. I made a lot this time, enough for you to eat. After Senju Hashirama said this, he turned around and left. No nostalgia. After Senju Hashirama left, Tianyu put his hands together on his thighs. Then he smiled and looked at Samu. Why, do you have anything else to say to us? If you have, I don't mind listening. If not, then you can go back later. Samu was already stunned by the fact that Senju Hashirama still existed. To be honest, Samu had never experienced the era when Senju Hashirama existed. So of course she had never felt the pain of being dominated. However, the power of the god of ninjas was recorded in the history books, and it was absolutely impossible to forget. No more. Samu shook her head, and she was completely lost. Not to mention that the Kumagakure sent some teams. Even if the entire Kumagakure came, it was probably not a match for the god of ninjas, Senju Hashirama. So, what else could she do? She had better go back obediently. Otherwise, Konoha would really get angry and detain her in anger, which would be the most uncomfortable thing. Very good, since there is no more, then the Anbu, send this Samu away, and remember to escort her out of the border of Konoha in person. Tianyu ordered. Yes. The Anbu descended from the sky and nodded directly. Samu was quickly taken away. Wow, so Konoha will treat us like this too. Kuratsuchi looked at Tianyu with a smile. Chijiro and Temari also swallowed their saliva. Of course not. You are friends of Konoha. Konoha has always been courteous to its friends. However, Konoha is in a state of disrepair and is not suitable for sightseeing. So we can only let you down for now. When Konoha is built, we will definitely invite you to visit. Tianyu said this comfortably. It not only took care of their face, but also made a strong contrast between them and Samu. Haha, Lord Tianyu and Lord Hokage are indeed worthy of their reputation. Well, then we will take our leave first. When Konoha is built in the future, we will come to visit again. Kuratsuchi smiled and felt very satisfied. Chijiro did the same. He stood up and left with a smile. However, both of them felt scared in their hearts. Obviously, the Kumagakure village has been remembered by Konoha. If the two of them were as aggressive as Samu just now, I am afraid that Samu would not be the only one thrown out at this moment. And maybe Konoha would also remember it. Konoha now has the god of ninjas, Senju Hoshirama. They are not easy to mess with. If you want to deal with Konoha, unless your ninja village has the reincarnation of Uchiha Madara. Otherwise, don't even think about it. Haven't you seen the tailed beasts, which are known as the top combat power in the ninja world? In the hands of Senju Hoshirama, they are as obedient as pets. The 9-tailed beasts can be divided at will. This is what people with absolute strength say. You must listen to me. If you don't have to listen in this life. Everyone planned to leave. Temari was no exception. As long as Konoha has no plan to attack the Sand Village, then Temari's this time will not count and there will be no gain. Temari, is Gaara okay? Tianyu stopped Temari and asked. Chapter 262 The Dust Settles. Gaara, he's fine. With the help of Chiyo and some people in the village, Gaara's mood has changed quickly. He has been able to attend many missions recently. The villagers' attitude towards Gaara is also slowly changing. Although it can't be done overnight, I think it will be possible to change Gaara's impression in everyone's mind in the future. Temari replied. Well, in that case, I'm relieved. The construction of Sand Village must be improved as soon as possible, so that your Sand Village can get rid of the previous haze as soon as possible. If you need anything, Konoha will also provide you with assistance. Tianyu said with a smile. If that's the case, it couldn't be better. Thank you, sir. Temari was even more grateful when she heard this. It's okay. This can be regarded as the result of the friendly relations between the two countries. As long as Sand Village can be friendly with Konoha, we don't mind releasing our goodwill. Tianyu nodded. Well, thank you, sir. Temari said with a smile. This time, she came to Konoha not only to bring the news of peace, but also to bring Tianyu's guarantee. I believe that even Chiyo will be happy. Well, go. Tianyu nodded. Yes. Temari nodded, and then left the Hokage's office under the escort of the Anbu. You are really good to the Sand Village. You don't look like a profiteer who cheated them before. After seeing Temari leave, Tsunade walked to Tianyu's side and couldn't help but say. Before, the Sand Village and we were hostile, and we hadn't signed any alliance agreement. Of course, we would cheat them if we could. Now that we have signed an alliance, we will help them if we can. Of course, this help is not limited to money. Tianyu's mouth curled up. After all, resources can be obtained from various channels, but money is not necessarily. Well, anyway, everything depends on you. I trust you 100%. If you think the Sand Village is trustworthy, then I will believe you. Tsunade nodded. Well, okay, I'll go down and deal with things first. I want to go to Orochimaru to see how he and the second Hokage are researching the Chiriga technique. And Sasuke, to be honest, I'm a little worried after so many days. Tianyu said to Tsunade with a smile. Well, go. Tsunade nodded. After leaving the Hokage's office, Tianyu went directly to the laboratory of Konoha. After Senju Tobirama appeared in Konoha, he personally established a current laboratory. All the equipment inside is of the highest level. There are even some experimental equipment rooms that were set up by the second Hokage himself, which can't be bought anywhere else. There are a lot of Hashirama cells here alone, as well as many scrolls for studying bloodline limits and various scrolls of secret techniques. It can be said that if you want to attack Konoha, you don't have to find the sealed book of Konoha. As long as you can successfully break through the blockade of the Anbu and come to this laboratory, you can actually get a lot of scrolls of secret techniques. But before that, you must not only break through the blockade of the Anbu, but even if you succeed by chance, you will have to face the joint attack of the second Hokage and Orochimaru, two powerful cage-level masters. It is conceivable how miserable the fate of those who dare to break into this laboratory will be. Orochimaru, the activity of the Chirigoa technique is not high enough. If it is used to transfer other ninjutsu, it is very likely to cause the effect of collapse. It has extremely strict requirements on the strength of the flesh and body. I am afraid it is not suitable for the development and use of general ninjutsu. Senju Tobirama looked at the Chirigoa technique cells in the culture dish and a biological sample that was studied, and said seriously, "That's right, the phagocytosis of this cell is too strong. Even if it can be temporarily fused, once the phagocytosis of the cell exceeds the critical point, it will swallow everything and even itself. It is like a time bomb. It is indeed not suitable for use in ordinary ninjutsu. It is better to cross it out." After taking a look at the data, Orochimaru also agreed with Senju Tobirama's words, and he directly removed the Chirigoa technique from the application of general ninjutsu. Second Hokage, take a look at this. If it is used to cultivate the main Gekyo Sharingan, combined with Uchiha Shin's cells, it will be able to reduce the repulsiveness of Hashirame's cells, so that ordinary people can also withstand the power of Hashirame's cells and the main Gekyo Sharingan. Orochimaru made a basic hypothesis and showed it to Senju Tobirama. Your hypothesis has some truth, but you have to grasp the measure. And Uchiha Shin's cells, so far, there are not many left in the mother body. The others are cloned, and the activity may be different from the original body. You have to be prepared for this. Senju Tobirama nodded. That's no problem. Orochimaru also nodded. Then the two of them said a lot of scientific terms. They looked like crazy scientists. Shianai looked around for 10 minutes and couldn't stand it anymore. No wonder the ninja god, Hashirama Senju, hates reading official documents the most. With such a brother, even if Hashirama Senju has handled the documents, Tobirama Senju will still have to read them again. Instead of that, it would be better to let Tobirama Senju watch it and let him fish. Isn't it better? Shaking his head, Shianai stepped forward and interrupted the conversation between Orochimaru and Tobirama Senju. You two don't discuss the problem of Uchiha Shin's cells for now. Tell me how the research of the Kirara Fang technique is going. Shianai said with his arms crossed. It's okay. Compared with ordinary techniques, the Kirara Fang technique does have its merits, but the phagocytosis of cells is indeed a bit strong, and it needs to be improved. Orochimaru turned around and looked at Shianai and replied with a smile. Well, that's it. Where is Sasuke? Is he still in the land of rice, Atagakure? Shianai asked. Yes, if you want to go see him, just use Flying Thunder God to go there. Oh, by the way, take this scroll to him as well. Orochimaru said, and took out a scroll and handed it to Shianai. The scroll contained the technique of impure world reincarnation. Shianai sensed the aura on it and instantly understood what it was. You really care about Sasuke's affairs. I didn't expect that you could get it out directly. Shianai threw the scroll in his hand and said with a smile while looking at Orochimaru. Chapter 263 Uchiha Fugaku reappears. He is my disciple after all. Although I wanted to get the Sharingan before in order to make myself stronger, now that I have a substitute, I don't need to dig out Sasuke's eyes, nor do I need to use his body as a container. Moreover, this disciple is still relatively respectful to me. In addition, I was threatened by Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo back then. I did do a lot of evil things with the corpses and eyes of the Uchiha clan. Now I can make up for it a little bit, so make up for it a little bit. Oh, by the way, it turns out that he is a reincarnated prisoner from the prison. You don't have to worry about me killing people or anything. Orochimaru said. I am still assured of you about this. Shianai smiled and nodded. Then he took a last look at the scene in the laboratory. Then he used the Flying Thunder God technique to come to the Sound Village, where he appeared last time. Orochimaru is not in the Sound Village now, and the one who is in charge of the village is Kabuto Yakushi. Lord Amaji, I haven't seen you for a long time. You are still so graceful and elegant. I am yearning for you. Kabuto Yakushi was not surprised to see Amaji appear. Instead, he pushed his glasses and saluted Amaji with a smile. Okay, you don't have to be like this. Where's Sasuke? Amaji didn't like Kabuto Yakushi. This guy was just a fanatical version of Orochimaru. Although Orochimaru and Konoha are no longer enemies now. But there is no guarantee that Kabuto Yakushi will not continue to collude with Obito and others. Sasuke just finished training and is resting now. I will take you there. Kabuto Yakushi didn't care about Amaji's attitude. He smiled and turned around to lead the way for Amaji. The village of Atagakure is very small. There were not many ninjas. After losing some of them, only some Jinan were left. In addition, there was nothing big in the land of fields. All they did was to maintain the most basic life in the village. So they all seemed very leisurely. But these people were just the superficial strength of the Atagakure ninjas in the land of fields. The real elites of the Sound Village are Hazuki, Amenaga, Kimimaro, and Xiangling. In addition, there are the Sound Five. But they can't compare with Kimimaro. When Tianyu came to Sasuke and Kimimaro had just finished a competition. The outcome of this competition was a draw. This made Sasuke a little unconvinced. However, Kimimaro's strength is strong enough. Even if he is not convinced, Sasuke can only continue to study hard. Hope to defeat Kimimaro. Sasuke. Lord Tianyu. Sasuke turned around and saw Tianyu. He stood up without hesitation, came to Tianyu, and saluted respectfully. No need to be like this. It is a great comfort for me to see your improvement in strength. It seems that you are doing well here with Orochimaru. This means that I did not make a mistake in sending you here. Tianyu looked at Sasuke, a little dazed. Sasuke is still a teenager now. Although he still has a gloomy aura, it seems that because the truth of the Uchiha clan has been revealed, he has less hostility and more impulsiveness. From this point of view, it is also a good thing for Sasuke. I also want to thank Master Tianyu for helping me. Next, as long as I work hard, I can let my father come back to me. I still have a lot of things to ask him, the situation of the family, the real truth at that time, and Uchiha Itachi. Sasuke still couldn't hold back the excitement in his heart when talking about Uchiha Itachi. After all, when he was a teenager, he had always looked up to his brother, and then his brother said the cruelest words to him. The family was destroyed, and overnight, he had a boy who knew nothing, and became a person who carried the family's blood feud. But now, all this has become a manifestation of Uchiha Itachi's love for him. To be honest, he is indeed a little confused. I know. This is the scroll that Orochimaru asked me to give you. It contains what you want. If you want, you can open it here. If you have any questions, just ask here. I can also tell you everything I know. Tianyu handed the scroll over. Sasuke was stunned for a moment when he heard Tianyu's words, and then took the scroll. His hand holding the scroll was even trembling. Then Sasuke opened the scroll without hesitation. When the white smoke dissipated, Uchiha Fugaku appeared in front of the two again. The pupils of his eyes were black, and his face still had the unique cracks of the impure world transformation. Father. When Sasuke saw Uchiha Fugaku, he could no longer suppress his excitement and walked forward. He wanted to hug Uchiha Fugaku, but stopped. My child Sasuke, you have called me back from the Pure Land again. In this case, I will answer any questions you have so that you can live in Konoha with peace of mind and promote the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Fugaku looked at Sasuke deeply, and he wanted to hug Sasuke tightly in his heart. But he felt very guilty. Because Sasuke had been burdened with so much for so many years, of course, there were factors of Konoha. But more of it was because of the Uchiha clan. Father, Itachi, why did he do that? The truth about the Uchiha clan had been announced before, but why didn't he admit it, and cast Tsukuyomi on me, making me review the moment when the clan members died tragically? What Sasuke wanted to ask was not the truth about the Uchiha clan in the past. Because he had seen all the truth from the records at the very beginning. Tianyu had already opened these top-secret documents to the people of Konoha, and he was innocent with the Uchiha clan. At that time, Sasuke was sitting on a hospital bed, reading all those documents word by word. Sasuke still remembers what was written on them. In addition, the Uchiha clan has now become a clan that is not suitable to ask about those trivial matters. Konoha has cleared their name and compensated him. Tsunade even said that if Sasuke wanted to become Hokage when he grew up, she could even support him to take the position of Hokage. It's ridiculous, isn't it? The Uchiha clan could become the Hokage of Konoha one day. This was something that was unthinkable in the past. Maybe Itachi wants you to become stronger, to carry your hatred for him, to become stronger little by little, and to defeat him in the end. Uchiha Fugaku didn't know what Itachi was thinking. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264. Time flies. But he knew that he had been biased since he was a child. He believed that if he wanted to protect the village, he would rather destroy his clan members than protect the village. So maybe he believed that Sasuke could only become stronger in this way. Then he would have to bear this grievance by himself forever. What kind of shabby excuse is this? This is not an excuse for him to use Tsukuyomi on me again. I will become very strong. With the help of Master Amaji, I will become extremely strong, even stronger than him. Then I will personally take action and bring him back to Konoha. I will tell him that I will become stronger even without the goal of revenge like him. Sasuke sneered when he heard this. Itachi always does this, hurting him again and again under the banner of doing good for him. Obviously, the truth has long been revealed. Those who had attacked the Uchiha clan and forced Uchiha Itachi to harm the family under the banner of doing good for the village have long died in the dust of history. Their sins have been thoroughly cleared. But Itachi still does this. It's really confusing. Sasuke, you have grown up. If so, you should have your own judgment. I won't say much, but Sasuke, I want you to know that you will always be my pride, and the pride of me and your mother. My child, not being able to grow up with you will always be the most regrettable thing for your mother and me, but I believe that you will be able to live well in Konoha in the future and live the way we want you to be. Uchiha Fugaku smiled with relief after hearing Sasuke's words. Looking at Fugaku's smile, Sasuke was also stunned for a moment. In his memory, his father was always serious, and his mother was the gentle and kind one. For the sake of the family, his father never showed him a trace of smile, and he didn't even praise him like he praised Itachi. But at this moment, Sasuke can feel the love that Uchiha Fugaku has for him. It is indeed the love that a father has for his children as much as possible. Father. Thank you, I understand. Sasuke nodded, and his wish was understood. In the future, he will no longer be obsessed with the Uchiha clan members who have gone to the Pure Land. And from now on, he will make himself stronger and protect Konoha in his own way. Sasuke, goodbye. Uchiha Fugaku looked at Sasuke with relief, and finally, with a smile, a layer of white light appeared on his body. Uchiha Fugaku's wish has been fulfilled, and he has no intention of staying in the world anymore. He was directly purified and returned to the Pure Land. Sasuke looked at Uchiha Fugaku leaving, feeling a little lost. But soon, he adjusted his mood. Lord Tianyu, thank you very much this time. Sasuke saluted Tianyu. It doesn't matter. You are a Konoha person, and one of the few remaining descendants of the Uchiha clan. Konoha is sorry for the Uchiha clan, and you have suffered so much? Now if you can make some compensation, it can also be regarded as making up for the losses you suffered before. This is nothing. Tianyu shook his head. Sasuke, train well. Naruto is also training hard in Konoha. He mentioned you to me the other day, saying that you are the biggest motivator in his growth. You two are best friends, so I hope you can keep helping each other and supporting each other. Keep your friendship and keep going. Tianyu looked at Sasuke with a smile. In fact, if there were no such bad things, Sasuke would be just a child now. 12 years old, this age is not small enough to take responsibility. Even if it is the reincarnation of Indra, if there is no hatred and stimulation. I believe that Indra's chakra and Shura's chakra will be able to reconcile in this area. The last one. Hearing Tianyu's words, Sasuke couldn't help but smile. The last one was enough to explain everything. I'm leaving first. If you have anything, you can come back to Konoha to find me. Tianyu nodded, then turned and left. Half a year passed in a flash. In this half year, there was no more turmoil in the ninja world. The ninjas of Konoha carried out their respective tasks step by step. Konoha had already been rebuilt, and even the destroyed places had developed more prosperous than before. Some criminals had also been tried and cleansed. All the clan lands of the Shimura clan were confiscated, and now Konoha planned to use them to build an orphanage. Konoha planned to use this orphanage to take in those homeless orphan ninjas and give them the best and most appropriate education. They would no longer be used by people like Danzo. Because of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the status of the Sarutobi clan in Konoha also declined rapidly. Some members of the Sarutobi clan, if they knew about it, had been imprisoned. But if they were not aware of it, they would be sent to the border of the village. As for Sarutobi Asuma, his status became a little embarrassing. But considering that Saratobi Asuma had been at odds with Saratobi Hiruzen in the early days, when he was a teenager, he even served as the bodyguard of the Hokage daimyo and left Konoha. He was not held accountable. However, he could no longer become a class teacher, so he could only put on a mask and join the Anbu. As for Shikamaru, Ino, and Shaji, the three of them had already become chunin. The general people who attended the meeting no longer had to act with a class jonin. Nothing happened. Nothing big happened in the past 6 months. It seemed that everything was peaceful. But in fact, there had been undercurrents. The Akatsuki organization had been dormant for the past 6 months, waiting for an opportunity. Continue their Munai plan. After all, this was what they thought was peace. Lord Shianayu. An Anbu knelt on one knee in front of Shianayu and saluted Shianayu respectfully. What's wrong? What happened again? Shianayu had just finished forging and asked the Anbu in front of him. Lord Shianayu, there's something going on in the laboratory. The second Hokage and Orochimaru want you to go and take a look. The Anbu said to Shianayu respectfully. Oh, the laboratory. Shianayu put down the things in his hands when he heard this and followed the Anbu to the laboratory. Half a year had passed and Orochimaru and his team should have come up with some results. So he also wanted to see how Orochimaru and his team were doing. After passing through many guards, he came to the laboratory. But Orochimaru and Senju Tobirama were not in the laboratory. Lord Amerji, please go this way. The Anbu continued to lead the way for Amerji. Chapter 265 Orochimaru's Achievements. Together they walked deeper into the laboratory. Konoha had enough funds, and the laboratory here was no longer like the caves of the past. Instead, it was very bright everywhere. Even if it was dozens of meters underground, it was as bright as day. Just as he arrived at the underground floor, Shianayu had not had time to observe the situation here, and his pupils shrank. Because in Shianayu's view, this underground floor was full of people. And these people's eyes were all red 3 Magatama Sharingan. The power of the 3 Magatama Sharingan may not be as powerful as the main Gekyo Sharingan. But so many 3 Magatama Sharingans. The power that can be exerted is also extremely powerful. It seems that you are quite satisfied with my experimental results. Orochimaru walked out of the crowd and couldn't help laughing at Shianayu's performance. Did you do these? Shianayu asked in surprise. No, of course I completed it with the second Hokage, and he helped me a lot. The second Hokage is worthy of being a man who regards the Uchiha clan as his mortal enemy. Even though he couldn't get the sample of the Sharingan at that time, he still knew the Sharingan very well. With his help, I was able to create this group of death warriors with 3 Magatama and Sharingan. Orochimaru was obviously very satisfied with his experiment. After all, these death warriors all have Sharingan. When necessary, they can often play a miraculous role on the battlefield. Is there any difference between their Sharingan and normal Sharingan? Tianyu calmed down quickly after the initial shock. Orochimaru's experiment is indeed very good. With so many Sharingans, the improvement of Konoha's combat power is not small. Especially when the war is going on, such a group of death warriors will most likely launch a beheading attack on the people of a village. Just imagine, if your commander or even the leader of the village dies suddenly when the war breaks out, how much of a blow will it cause to the fighting will of that village? But these Sharingan are all from the laboratory, not the real bloodline of the Uchiha clan. Even if the power of the Sharingan can be exerted, it is probably not comparable to the power of the Uchiha clan. After all, this is like Hashirama Senju and Yamato. Hashirama Senju is the god of ninjas, who can overthrow the 5 major countries with a wave of his hand. But Yamato, well, it can only be said that Yamato is really good at building a house for Konoha. And what can I say about Yamato? He can integrate wood release, which can only be said to be a blind cat catching a dead mouse. Li Kui and Li Gui are completely different. Well, you know that the Sharingan cultivated in the laboratory is indeed not comparable to the Uchiha clans, and the time it can be used is greatly shortened, and it may even cause blindness soon. But please believe me that these Sharingan can fully perform a complete Izanagi technique, but in order to perform Izanagi, they must use their lives as the price. Of course, these people are all dead men. If you order them to do it, they will do it without hesitation and will not care about their own life or death. Orochimaru continued to laugh. Shianayu folded his arms and looked at Orochimaru. When Orochimaru said those words, Shianayu didn't care at all. After all, Shianayu didn't need to care about a substandard product that couldn't be compared with the Uchiha clan. But after hearing what Orochimaru said later, Tianyu's heart was also a little moved. Izanagi. Anyone who has read the original Naruto knows this ninjutsu. This is a ninjutsu that can change reality and turn everything into an illusion. Even during the performance of the technique, life and death can be temporarily blurred. Once, Shimura Danzo's power allowed him to cast Izanami for another minute. These dead soldiers were far less powerful than Danzo, and they had to sacrifice their lives to cast Izanami. So it was very likely that it would only take a dozen seconds. But this was enough for the ever-changing battlefield. At least a dozen seconds. If he had used the Flying Thunder God technique, he would have been able to kill that person dozens of times. Orochimaru, you really know how to surprise me, but I don't think you called me here today just to say this, right? Tianyu said with a smile. Yes, Tianyu, you should still want to make the secret technique of the Sharingan more perfect. If you can reach the power of the Uchiha clan, then yes, Konoha's improvement will be even greater. Orochimaru said with a smile. Well, of course I want to, but Orochimaru, since their eyes can activate the Uchiha clan's Izanami, what if someone wants to take their eyes away on the battlefield? Tianyu had to ask this question. After all, no one wants to let their things be used as wedding clothes for others. Especially for the clans with special bloodline limits, other people can use Ice Escape and Storm Escape. These are in the bloodline, and unless you go to the past and have a child with someone, you can't take it away. But eyes are completely different. The Hyuga clan and the Uchiha clan value their eyes very much. If they are taken away by outsiders, it is equivalent to the loss of the power of the family. This is not a good ending. You can rest assured about this. I also added the Kirara Fang technique of Akunako as the basis in their bodies, so there is no need to worry about their eyes being taken away. Once someone wants to take their eyes away, if they just take their eyes back as specimens for storage and research, it's okay. Those eyes will only gradually shrink and eventually lose all their power. But if someone wants to put those eyes into his body, then the Kirara Fang technique will directly explode and devour his body, so their eyes are infallible. Orochimaru continued to smile. Well, then I'm relieved. Tell me what else you need me to help you with. Tianyu looked at Orochimaru and said. After hearing what Tianyu said, the smile on Orochimaru's face became more sincere. Pain from Akatsuki, the Samsara Eye? I need a sample of his Samsara Eye. I want to study the Samsara Eye, which is a power even more mysterious than the Sharingan. If we can study the eyes of the Sage of Six Paths thoroughly, maybe we can also possess the power of the Sage. And to some extent, the power of the Samsara Eye and the Sharingan seems to have some commonality. If I can get some samples, I can find the law between them and strengthen the Sharingan. Orochimaru said without hesitation. Chapter 266 Departure to Rain Village. Oh, is this all you need? Tianyu didn't refuse after hearing what Orochimaru said. After all, although Nagato was powerful, he was not invincible. Moreover, Tianyu knew Nagato's situation like the back of his hand. He already had an idea of how to deal with him. Strengthening the Sharingan, this research is quite interesting. Tianyu smiled faintly. It must be said that the research results of Orochimaru this time really gave him a lot of surprises. And the Samsara Eye, which is a higher level than the Sharingan, is something that even Tianyu is very curious about. Tianyu raised his head, looked at Orochimaru, and asked, So, you only need me to take back a body of pine that you have seen before in the Akatsuki organization, which is enough for you to study the Samsara Eye. This request was not difficult for Tianyu. With his current strength, even if he directly faced Nagato, who was Pine's body, he was fully confident that he could defeat him and get everything he wanted. Moreover, what Orochimaru wanted now was just one of the bodies of the Six Paths Pine. Yes, this should be easy for you, Amaji-kun. Orochimaru's golden eyes flashed with a strong light, and his eyes were full of confidence. And the confidence in his eyes was even stronger than Amaji's, and it was completely the fanaticism that only a scientific research madman could have. Amaji's strong strength and support for his scientific research technology have always made Orochimaru feel fortunate that he chose to cooperate with him. It was a wise decision. Yes, so far I only need these, Amaji. I know that the Akatsuki organization is very powerful, but I know that you are also very powerful. Whether you can bring me the sample of the Samsara Eye depends on you. Orochimaru smiled and looked at Amaji. That's no problem. Amaji nodded. I will go to the Rain Country in a few days. Amaji nodded lightly, and then left Orochimaru's laboratory. You are really worthy of you, Amaji-kun. Orochimaru's eyes were filled with some appreciation and yearning, looking at Amaji's back as he walked away, and he sighed so. Then I'll leave everything to you. Orochimaru smiled, then turned and left. Hokage's office. Hey, woman. You've been getting more and more unbridled lately. Tianyu pushed open the door of the Hokage's office, and a gust of alcohol hit his face. Then he saw that the table in Tsunade's office was covered with many large and small shotru jugs, scattered all over the floor. Tsunade was wearing a green windbreaker, with 2 golden ponytails hanging in front of her. There was an intoxicating blush on her flawless white face, and her eyes were a little distracted and full of amorous feelings. This confused look. It was obvious that Tsunade got drunk in her office in broad daylight. In the past 2 years as Hokage, Tsunade has become more and more familiar with the duties of being a Hokage. Without the restrictions of the elders, she began to gradually let herself go. Not only did she often get drunk, she even had the idea of opening a gambling house in the Hokage's office building. Of course, as soon as this idea came to her mind, Tianyu had strangled it in her mind. At this time, Tsunade was obviously in a very irritable state. What? You said you want to go to the Rain Village. I won't agree. Tsunade refused directly. Why, Tsunade? If we can get the sample of the Samsara Eye, Orochimaru can strengthen the power of the Sharingan, which is a good thing for Konoha. Why don't you agree? Tianyu looked at Tsunade. He didn't quite understand why Tsunade didn't agree to his request. What are you kidding? Tianyu, the Rain Village, that place is the headquarters of the Akatsuki organization. Don't forget how they treated Konoha before. I'm afraid they are now thinking about how to deal with Konoha. Now that Konoha is strong, they dare not come. What I can't understand is that you actually want to take the initiative to go there. Tianyu, you are very strong, but 2 fists can't beat 4 hands. If they besiege together, how sure are you that you can come back? Tsunade didn't agree to Tianyu's departure. She was worried. Okay, Tsunade, I know you are worried about me, but believe me, I will be fine, and there is Shisu helping me in the Rain Village. You should have known the abilities of Shisu and me. Even if we are besieged at that time, I can use the Flying Thunder God technique to take Shisu away, and I know their strengths very well. No problem. The more important thing is this matter. Even if I don't go now, someone else will definitely go. Instead of letting others die in vain at that time, it is better for me to solve this hidden danger now. I can guarantee that I will come back unscathed, but others can't, so Tsunade, believe me. Tianyu looked at Tsunade and said. Tianyu. Tsunade bit her lip. She really didn't want to. What kind of person is Uchiha Madara? He is a ninja world sure who is as famous as Senju Hashirama, and his strength is extremely strong. Even though Tsunade has never seen Uchiha Madara. But when he was young, he also heard a lot of news about Uchiha Madara from Senju Tobirama and Senju Hashirama. Those news are not false. Tsunade. Tianyu smiled at Tsunade. But his expression was firm and he had no intention of giving in. I understand, Tianyu, then you must come back safely. Tsunade knew that Tianyu was very gentle, but behind his gentleness was firmness. Tianyu had made up his mind, so he would definitely do it. Even if she disagreed, it would be useless. Don't worry. Tianyu smiled and patted Tsunade's shoulder. If you feel it's dangerous, why don't I go with Tianyu? Naruto's training these days has also seen the results for the first time. I think it's okay to have Kakashi accompany him. In this way, I can accompany Tianyu to the Rain Village. Jiraiya was outside the Hokage's office and had already heard the conversation between Tianyu and Tsunade clearly. After Tsunade agreed, Jiraiya pushed the door and walked in, looking at the two and said, "No, you stay in Konoha." Tsunade refused without thinking. Jiraiya, when I leave the village, you will be responsible for handling some of the chores in the village, so it is not appropriate for you to leave with me. Besides, I think with my own strength, I don't need so many people to accompany me. Tianyu said while looking at Jiraiya with a smile. In the original work, Jiraiya died at the hands of Nagato and others. In the Rain Village. Although he will not watch Jiraiya die tragically now, it is better to avoid such a situation as soon as possible if it can be avoided. Otherwise, who knows if a world will suddenly come and correct the line. If so, it will be uncomfortable. But Jiraiya hesitated for a moment. But they were my students, you know? When I first saw my students joining such a mercenary group to deal with Konoha, I was indescribable. From that time on, I wanted to ask them what was going on. When I left them, they said they wanted peace. They may not be willing to give up everything, but they just want peace. But what they are doing now is completely contrary to what they hoped for. Nagato, Yohiko, Konan, they are all good kids. Someone must be behind them. Jiraiya gritted his teeth when he said this. After all, they were the children he had taught for several years. It is precisely because you know that he is your student that you have to avoid suspicion, Jiraiya. Now a long time has passed. Time can change a person. Even Naruto is so old now, let alone them. When you left them, they were only a little older than Naruto, but now so many years have passed, everything has changed, only you have not changed. Still immersed in the past years, not everyone is Orochimaru, and not everyone is forced, Jiraiya. Naruto still needs you. Tianyu still refused directly. Jiraiya looked at Tianyu's appearance and knew that he could no longer talk. So he could only sigh and turn away. This is the first time I see you reject Jiraiya with such a firm tone. Tsunade looked at Tianyu in surprise. There's no other way. I'm leaving first. Don't tell Tenten and Hinata about my leaving Konoha for the time being, otherwise I'm afraid they will worry. And as for Orochimaru, remember to tell him later that he can continue his research after I come back, but before I come back, he should stay in Konoha and don't leave. As for the second Hokage, I heard from Orochimaru that he has developed several new ninjutsu. Remember to find someone to identify it. If it can be promoted on a large scale, promote it. But if not, remember to list it as a forbidden technique. Tianyu said with a smile. Chapter 267, The Situation of Rain Village. Okay, I got it. Go ahead. Tsunade patted Tianyu helplessly. Since he had decided to go to the Rain Village, Tianyu would naturally make no preparations. After packing up his things, Tianyu rushed to the Rain Village. Tianyu was alone, so he traveled very quickly. In half a day, Tianyu had already arrived at the Rain Village. Lord Tianyu. When Shisa knew that Tianyu had arrived, he went directly to Tianyu and saluted. The rain in the Rain Village never stopped all year round, and it was wrapped in thick fog. Ordinary people had no way to sneak in, and they would be discovered as soon as they entered. Shisa had always been exploring the periphery. Even if he wanted to sneak in and look for some clues, he used the crow clone. When the crow clone was discovered, Shisu could not find any clues. It was just that he had been staying outside the Rain Village, and he knew more about the news here. It's okay, no need to be polite. What is the situation of this village now? Tianyu looked at Shisu and asked. There was a drizzle everywhere. The ninjas living in this village were born with a kind of sadness. They were a small country sandwiched between several big countries. They could only suffer from the pressure of being sandwiched. The ninjas here were not strong. Although they could protect them when Hanzo of the Salamander was here, it was only a temporary protection. After Hanzo of the Salamander was killed by Nagato, this place became Nagato's sphere of influence. But even so, the villagers and ninjas here could not live a good life. It was impossible for them to live in peace like the ninjas of the 5 major countries. If they want to have enough food and clothing, they must live a life of blood on the tip of a knife. Otherwise, they can only die miserably. This village is not good. My clone once went in to get information, but no matter whether it was the people in charge or the villagers, they all felt lifeless to me. They seemed to have accepted their fate and lived like a walking corpse without their own ideas. And the people here are extremely xenophobic and do not welcome any outsiders to enter. If you are an ordinary person, they will only expel you, but if a strange ninja enters, they will disappear without a trace in an instant. Moreover, the people here seem to have a fanatical worship of the true God in their hearts. You can't get any information from them. Almost every time my crow clone goes in to perform an exploration mission, he will be killed by them, without exception. Shisu quickly reported the situation here to Tianyu. What about those people from Akatsuki? Have you seen them? Tianyu certainly knew what kind of place the Rain Village was. This place itself is located at the junction of several major countries. It has been a battleground for military strategists since ancient times. But due to the constraints of each country, if this place is occupied by force, other countries will not be happy, so this place has become a place without jurisdiction. As a region that clamps down on surrounding countries, it cannot be stable. Otherwise, it will shake the rule of several other major countries, and it can only become more chaotic. so that it is convenient for them to arrange forces to come in and fish in troubled waters. Just like the collusion between Hanzo of the Salamander and Denzo of Konoha in the past. It is like the infiltration of the power of the Cloud Village. Later, the appearance of Nagato uprooted all the forces here. This has led to the current situation. No outsiders can get in, but if they do, they will be discovered and eliminated. It's good to have someone to worship, otherwise it will really become a walking corpse, as you said. Tianyu sighed. The sadness of the Rain Village is just the sadness of countless small villages in the ninja world. Fortunately, there is still a Nagato in the Rain Village. With their protection, these ninjas in the Rain Village are not too bad. But other small villages often fail to have a strong protector and are directly destroyed. What can these people do? That's right. Shisu's eyes also showed sadness. He was originally a compassionate person, and now he has been on a mission here for such a long time. He has also seen the warmth and coldness of the people in this village, so of course he lamented. You continue to guard outside. This time I came here to get the sample of the samsara eye. After I go in, the village will have a big change. You guard here. Remember to stop them for me if someone from the Akatsuki organization comes. Of course, you have to learn to adapt to the situation. I don't want to see anything happen to you. Tianyu looked at Shisu and said. Yes, I understand. Shisu nodded. After explaining some things to Shisu, Tianyu walked directly into the Rain Village. He did not sneak in, but walked into the Rain Village openly. It is now officially daytime in the Rain Village, although it is drizzling outside and surrounded by fog. But it was still daytime, and there were many people on the street selling all kinds of food, and some ninjas were walking on the street. Even some taverns were open. And Tianyu just walked in. He instantly attracted their attention. After seeing Tianyu appear, these people immediately began to whisper. Tianyu's forward protector was not covered at all. The symbol of Konoha made everyone feel like they were facing a great enemy. After all, other villages have always wanted to find out the news of the Rain Village, but they were all doing it secretly and privately. If they were discovered, they would be directly dealt with by the angel, but the man in front of him was different. He walked in openly. He didn't even avoid anyone. Such actions were indeed disturbing. The tallest tower of the Rain Village. Konan stood on the high ground. Let the rain wet her body. Only in this way could Konan feel that she was still alive. Konan. Nagato's voice came from the darkness of the house. Pine. Konan turned and went in. We have guests. Nagato's voice was still hoarse. Okay, I'll deal with him right away, you can have a good rest here. When Konan heard this, she turned around and left without saying anything. No, Konan, Pine, follow him. Nagato felt a little worried when he saw Konan leave, so he asked Six Paths Pine to follow him the next moment. Chapter 268, Battle of Rain Village. Among the 6 paths of pain, the animal path, the hungry ghost path, and the heavenly path immediately followed behind Konan. In the Rain Village, the rain continued to fall, and the sound of it came into the ears. However, suddenly, the surroundings became extremely quiet. All the people seemed to have disappeared suddenly. Disappeared in front of everyone. Tianyu stopped. This is the only place that was not wet by the rain. It is also where the tower of the Akatsuki organization is located. Go back, Konoha's hawk dog. This is not the place you should come to. Countless pieces of paper gathered in front of Tianyu. Konan's body appeared, she flew in the air, and the white pieces of paper formed the wings of an angel. Looking at Tianyu expressionlessly. You really came out, but I'm curious that there is no pine around you. Tianyu looked at Konan and raised the corner of his mouth and smiled. Konan is an extremely tragic character in Naruto. At the beginning, she was not strong enough and was captured, causing Yahiko to choose death to save her. Later, he used 600 billion detonating tags to kill Obito, but still failed. It must be said that Konan is also extremely powerful. Not weaker than anyone in the Akatsuki organization. Let Konoha's lackeys leave. I am enough alone. I don't need Pine to take action. Konan's body was suspended. Go quickly, or you will die. Konan looked at Tianyu without hesitation. The red cloud robe on her body was slowly fading. Even her face had traces. She was performing a secret technique. She was ready to attack Tianyu at any time. Tianyu looked at Konan, holding the high Orinmaru in his hand. The air temperature around him began to drop rapidly. The originally drizzling drizzle instantly condensed into hailstones. It fell on the ground with a crackling sound. Seeing this scene, Conan's face became extremely solemn. Let's call Pine out. You are not my opponent. You will only die in vain. Tianyu did not want to kill Konan. Konan and the others were just deceived. The mastermind behind all this was only Obito and Black Zetsu. If it wasn't necessary, Tianyu didn't want to tear his face with him. Konoha's hawk, I know you're powerful, but this depends on your ability. Konan stopped talking nonsense. With a change of his hands, the floating papers around him instantly turned into detonating tags and attacked Tianyu. Boom, the detonating tags made a roar. Almost in an instant, the fire and explosion directly enveloped Tianyu. Shisu was on guard outside. When he sensed the battle in the Rain Village, Shisu knew that the battle had begun. The villagers of the Rain Village also fled to their homes at the first time. The angel was fighting with the ninjas of Konoha. This was not something they could intervene in. On the highest tower, Obito opened his eyes. Obito, Konan and the others are fighting with Tianyu. Black and White Zetsu popped his head out of the ground, looked at Obito and smiled. Let them fight. Obito didn't react at all, and it seemed that he didn't intend to help Konan at all. Alice, you are really heartless. Hibei Zetsu smiled helplessly after hearing this. Hibei Zetsu was not surprised at all by Obito's behavior. After all, Obito himself was not a good person. Except for some things, he would not take any action on other things. Boom. If this is your trick, then you are done for. The explosion ended. Tianyu was still standing in the air. The winds behind him carried him flying in the air. In the explosion just now, Tianyu was intact. The huge icicles around had quietly melted under the fire just now. You are really strong. Xiaoyan frowned. This time she was not merciful. The paper instantly condensed into a spear. Chakra attached to the paper spear, even if it was paper. But it was enough to compare with fine iron. The spear shot out directly. But the next moment, it directly pierced through the phantom left by Tianyu in the original place. Not good. Xiaoyan frowned. She recognized that this was the Flying Thunder God technique. The paper retreated rapidly. In the air, the huge paper wings turned into defense. But it was too late. The mark of Flying Thunder God had been placed on the paper. Konan's defense only made her death closer. Boom, Flying Thunder God slash. Hai Orochimaru flashed with cold light. This cold light also directly reflected in Konan's eyes. This attack would not kill Konan. Because Konan, who was in the state of paper, was not of flesh and blood, she would not die so easily after being stabbed. But she would definitely be seriously injured. No. Shinra Tensei. A figure wearing a red cloud robe appeared directly. The next moment, an extremely powerful repulsive force was released instantly. This repulsive force wrapped around Konan and stabbed into Tianyu frantically. Flying Thunder God. Tianyu dodged the attack of Shinra Tensei under the rapid movement of Flying Thunder God. Then, Tianyu looked up at the person who performed the ninjutsu. The person in front of him was Shyandao from the Six Paths of Pain. He was also Nagato's best friend, Yuriko. Konan, are you okay? Yuriko let Konan go from his arms. It's okay. Xiaoyan shook her head, her breath a little unstable. Just now, she was almost seriously injured. It seems that the people of Konoha really can't be underestimated. Especially the Flying Thunder God technique, this ninjutsu is really hard to defend against. The victory or defeat is only a matter of seconds. You are from Konoha, right? Why did you come to my Rain Village? After letting go of Xiaoyan, Shyandao looked down at Tianyu. He asked expressionlessly, and the black spots on his face made him even more scary. Tianyu knew that although it was Pine who was speaking now, Nagato could see everything here with his own eyes. He could also control Pine Shyandao to help him fight. These puppets are Nagato's eyes. I came here this time, actually, I want to ask for your help for something. Shyandao looked at Pine and said with a smile. Oh, what help? Shyandao took the initiative to step forward. Protected Xiaoyan behind him. I want a sample of your samsara eye for experiments. If you are willing to give it to me, I will be very grateful. Shyandao smiled and said to Pine. You're going too far. Upon hearing this, Konan was about to go berserk. After Yuriko died, Nagato was the only companion left to her. And once Nagato lost his samsara eye, he would die. The man from Konoha in front of her wanted Nagato to die. She would never agree to it. If he wanted to attack Nagato and the others, he had to step over her body first. Chapter 269 Pain's 6 Paths. Konan, don't be impulsive. Pain Shyandeo stopped Konan's action. What if I don't want to give you the samsara eye? Shyandeo looked at Shianayu and said. That's very simple. You attacked Konoha in the Chunin exam before, and the hatred for Konoha has not been settled yet. Today we just come to settle the score. Of course, I also want to experience the power of the samsara eye. Shianayu smiled and began to hear. He clenched a high Orinmaru in his hand. He was ready to fight directly if he disagreed. It seems that we can't reach an agreement today. I hope Konoha will not regret sending you here, because from today on, you will die. Shiandeo still looked at Shianayu expressionlessly and said this. And Shianayu did not comment. If Shianayu did not know the true power of the samsara eye, it is very likely that he would be in a difficult battle today. After all, according to the current real strength, Shianayu is actually weaker than Nagato. The superb abilities of the samsara eye are not easy to deal with. But Shianayu already knew the various abilities of the samsara eye, and also knew clearly where Shiandeo's weakness was. Moreover, today's action was not to completely defeat Pain's 6 paths, but just to take away the puppet corpse with the samsara eye sample. This was still a very easy thing for Shianayu. I also hope that what you said can really come true, but there are many people in the Naruto world who want my life, and you are just one of them. Shianayu smiled and said. Then let's give it a try. Summoning technique. Hearing the animal path behind him, he stepped forward and performed the summoning technique. In an instant, 3 hellhounds appeared directly in front of them. These 3 hellhounds carried the violent intentions from hell, and the moment they appeared, they bit Shianayu directly. Summoning technique. The animal path summoning technique continued, and as his chakra continued to be performed, huge rhinos, bullfights, and even huge crabs were directly summoned. Water escape bubble chaos. The moment this huge crab was summoned, it spit out countless bubbles from its mouth. A sea of bubbles was formed around it. These bubbles were corrosive. The moment they appeared, the surrounding buildings began to corrode to a certain extent. And these bubbles also turned into continuous attacks and rushed towards Shianayu. At the same time, the rhinoceros and bullfighting completely surrounded the surroundings. The place where they fought was turned into an extremely small space. In this extremely small space, even if Shianayu had the Flying Thunder God technique, it would be difficult to avoid the attack. As the space for evasion continued to shrink, Shianayu would eventually be caught and killed. Don't hide anymore. The Flying Thunder God technique is indeed very powerful, but in the battle of speed, we will not lose. Shiandeo still had no expression on his face. He hadn't started yet, but he was undoubtedly the most difficult one to deal with. Really? Shianayu heard this. Finally, he stopped and stopped hiding. Instead, he looked up at Shiandeo. Looking at Shianayu's expression, Shiandeo seemed to have thought of something. He slapped Xiaonan in the face at high speed. Then everyone saw that Shianayu had used the Flying Thunder God technique to come to the place where Xiaonan appeared before. At the same time, ice flowers bloomed directly on the ice wheel pill. The temperature around was instantly reduced to 0 degrees, and the ground began to snow. Whenever the snow fell on the 3 hellhounds, the 3 hellhounds would once again transform into clones. Even the rhinoceros and bulls, after the snow fell on them, their footsteps were directly frozen. Not long after, they turned into ice sculptures on the spot. The big crab that was summoned by the spirit was even more miserable. The corrosive bubbles on the ground around them, which were originally used to attack Shianayu, turned directly into the death warrant of the big crab at that moment. These bubbles were stained with ice flowers and fell directly to the ground, bursting instantly with a bang. All the power inside fell on the crab's shell. In just an instant, the crab was turned into an ice sculpture. At the same time, snowflakes continued to fall. Little by little, they floated on Xiaonan's body. Xiaonan's body turned into paper again. But it was useless. These flying snows did not seem to be water drops, but like condensed ice blades, they turned into white frost after being stained. No matter how you dodge, as long as these flying snows fall, everything is doomed. Absorb. At this time, Pine, a man from the Hungry Ghost Path, stepped forward. Attraction continued to appear in his hands. In an instant, all the flying snow in the sky was absorbed into his body. Shianayu did not stop the Hungry Ghost Path's actions. The evil ghosts can absorb and devour other people's chakra for their own use, and release it at the same time to deal with the existence of the enemy. But the Ice Sky 100 Flowers burial he released at this moment was not an ninjutsu. It was an extreme ice power. This kind of ice power can even completely freeze chakra. The evil ghost wanted to absorb these powers into his body, so his final result was destined to be turned into an ice sculpture. Sure enough, the body of the hungry ghost began to gradually attach layers of ice flowers. The snow still existed between the heaven and earth. Xianin's body was well protected by Xiandao. After that, there was no falling snow. But if he persisted, Xiandao's body would be covered by the snow sooner or later, and at that time, Xianin would become a target. Boom! A series of sealing talismans appeared in Xianyu's hand. These sealing talismans were constantly cast at the evil ghost. Shinra Tensei. Hearing another attack, these sealing talismans were completely torn into pieces, and some of the flying snow in the air was also crushed. Ten Xiang Xianin. Pain Xiandao attacked, and the huge attraction kept pulling Xianyu. The two opposite forces seemed to tear Xianyu's body apart. This force was indeed very strong, and even the Flying Thunder God technique could not escape such an attack. However, Xianyu did not hesitate, and a very cold light flashed on the ice wheel pill. 1,000 years of ice prison. As Xianyu approached, the endless ice power on the ice wheel pill instantly condensed around, forming dozens of ice pillars, directly wrapping Xiandao and Xianin. At the same time, endless icy power emanated, and more snow fell on Xianin. It's already the 63rd flower. If the flower becomes the 100th, Xianin will die. Chapter 270 Getting the Sample. Just when he wanted to launch the Shinra Tensei to completely break these ice pillars, Xianyu suddenly said this to him. What did you say? Hearing this, Pain Xiandao's attack really stopped. When I invaded Konoha, I used this move during the Chunin exam, the Ice Sky 100 Flowers burial. When the flying snow turns into frost flowers and falls on your body, when the number reaches 100, that person's life fire will be completely extinguished. Now it has reached 72 flowers. Xiandao, you are a corpse. This attack may not have any effect on you, but for Konan, when the ice flowers reach the 100th, she will die and disappear from this world forever. Whether it is the hell or something else, there is no way to save Konan's life. Hearing this, Xiandao hesitated. No, Pain, kill him. Konan doesn't care about her own life or death. What Konan cares about is whether Nagato will be threatened by someone. Just like now. Pain Xiandao, I'm here to remind you again. If you still hesitate, then Xianin may die. And don't forget, it's hard to tell the winner of our battle in a short time, but Binghu has reached 76. Xianin's life is now in your hands. If you are willing to sacrifice Xianin, then I have nothing to say. I can't bring back the sample of the Samsara today. But if you don't want to sacrifice Xianin, withdraw all ninjutsu now and let me take back the sample of the corpse of the evil ghost. I can promise here that I won't hurt anyone else, and Xianin can survive the same way. Xianyu looked at Xiandao and smiled. Are you serious? Xiandao was still hesitating. The 82nd piece. Xianyu didn't answer, but said this number instead. I agree to your request, as long as you can keep Xianin safe, I agree to your request. Pain Xiandao nodded directly. No, it should be Nagato who nodded directly. The moment he heard the nod, Xianyu saw that Pain Liudao and the others had gathered all their chakras. They also stopped resisting. At this time, if Xianyu used ninjutsu on them, they would be killed in an instant. But since Nagato had kept his word and put down his weapon, Xianyu naturally could not be that despicable villain. He no longer hesitated, and as soon as the sealing talisman came out, he directly sealed the corpse of the evil ghost. This corpse was the sample he would take back next. At this moment, Xianin's body was covered with ice flowers. The number of ice flowers had accumulated to 92. As long as there were 8 more pieces of Xianin, she would be dead. At this moment, Xianyu had stopped his technique, and the sky was no longer snowing. Xianyu walked in front of Xianin and easily slapped the frost on Xianin's body with his hands. That's it. As soon as Xianyu finished speaking, Xianin's body turned into paper pieces, and she wanted to attack Xianyu again. Flying Thunder God Slash. However, the next moment, Xianyu's body passed through Xianin's paper pieces. A cold light flashed in his hand, and Xianan's body instantly fell to the ground. A large amount of blood fell to the ground. Xianan was obviously seriously injured by this blow. Xianan. Xiandao came to Xianan to check on her. Xianan might die after losing so much blood. But after Xiandao checked Xianan's body, he found that the blow just now only looked heavier, but actually only made Xianan bleed a little. Moreover, the flying thunder god avoided the vital parts. In other words, Xianan's current injuries will be fine as long as she goes back to recuperate for half a month. I said, since you keep your word, I will not kill anyone. The method just now is a lesson for you. Don't think of killing me. You don't know my strength. Xiandao, you are a corpse. Maybe you don't fear some of my methods, but Xianan is a living person. She has no way to deal with me. Xianai looked at Xiandao and said, no, it seems that he was talking to Nagato behind Xiandao. Xianai, no matter how powerful you are, Konoha has been rotten to the root. Unless we dig it up by the roots and rebuild a new Konoha on the ruins, there will never be true peace in this world. And now you are doing these things. You want to study the secret of the Rinnegan, and you are not hesitating to attack an innocent person. What's the difference between you and Danzo? Xiandao yelled at Xianayu. There will be real peace. I believe that real peace will come. If we work hard from now on, then maybe we can see the day when real peace comes. But if we do nothing, then peace can only be obtained in a false dream. Also, don't compare Danzo with me. That guy doesn't deserve it. Also, the power of the Samsara Eye is a necessary force on the road to peace. I want to control the power of the Samsara Eye in order to protect the weak, and you get the power of the Samsara Eye to swing the knife at the weak. There is an essential difference between the two of us. You can't compare with me. What's more, a man who can only hide behind the corpse of his friend, what peace is he talking to me about? You hesitated just now, right? You were hesitating whether to sacrifice Konan to kill me, but if it was the real Yahiko, he would not hesitate at all, just like he did at the beginning. In order to save his companions, he would not hesitate to hit Shikune and use his life to save his companions. Xianai looked at Xiandao and said, to be honest, Nagato is indeed a very tragic character in the original work of the Naruto world. He has been used all his life and may have seen the light briefly. But the light was too short. It even made Nagato think that it was just an illusion, and the name Akatsuki actually meant Dawn, an organization that wanted to bring true peace and hope to everyone. But now in their hands, it has become synonymous with mercenaries. It has become a symbol of terror in a dark organization. It is completely different from what Chihiko once thought. This is their sorrow. What do you know? Xiandao was stunned when he heard this. What Xianayu said should be confidential. After all, these things have happened more than 10 years ago. All the people who knew are dead. But why can Xianayu still say it? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271 Shisa's Request. I know everything about you, and I also know that Chihiko's death was caused by Danzo's collusion with Hanzo, but you ended up venting your anger on Hanzo and didn't even seek revenge on Danzo. In the end, your organization even cooperated with Danzo to attack Konoha. It's ridiculous to put the cart before the horse. In fact, I'm quite curious. If Chihiko were still alive, what kind of expression would he have when he saw you like this? I think he would probably be very disappointed. Disappointed that you two just gave up your beliefs completely after a little blow. You are weak and fragile and loyal to the darkness. It's ridiculous. Xianayu shook his head at Xiandao and Konan. Nagato and Konan are all people who have witnessed the real darkness. But Chihiko is the same. And when Chihiko died, he entrusted Konan to Nagato. Similarly, he entrusted the hope of their Akatsuki organization to Nagato, hoping that Nagato could become a leader and lead everyone to continue. But what did Nagato do? He gave the entire organization to Obito, who turned this bright and glorious organization into a mercenary. He even recruited rebel ninjas from the 5 great nations, creating killing and bloodshed. It must be said that Nagato did not fulfill Chihiko's request. What do you know? You don't understand it all. Tendo Pain was touched by what he said, and he began to get a little irritable. Don't talk about Nagato and Chihiko like that. Konan also began to get angry. Of course I understand. Generally speaking, If a companion who shares the same faith as me dies, and dies to save me, then I will live with his faith. No matter how hard it is, I will turn my heart to the light, instead of turning around and joining the darkness with his instructions. However, this may be what you think, and this is why your Akatsuki organization has become what it is now. There is no point in saying more. See you on the battlefield in the future. When that time comes, I will no longer show mercy, and I will really send you to meet your teammates. At that time, I hope you can ask him in the Pure Land whether he is satisfied or disappointed with what you have done now. Tianyu laughed sarcastically. Then he left the rain village with the corpse of the evil ghost. After Tianyu left, the rain in the rain village became heavier. The fog around covered the streets, and the visibility on the streets became lower and lower. After the battle, all the villagers of the rain village ran out of their homes. They wanted to see the result of this battle and who won. But in the end, what they saw was only a mess. Their angels and gods had long disappeared. What was left for the rain village was only the devastation and the heavy rain that never saw the sun. Obito, he left. Is it really good for him to say that to Nagato? You also know that Nagato's spirit is very fragile. If he continues to be stimulated like this, he may really collapse. Black Zetsu looked at Obito and asked. Whether it's good or bad, he has already said it, and there is no way to stop it. What's more, what he said may not be untrue. Nagato is indeed not firm, and Konoha is not much better. Black Zetsu, keep a good eye on Nagato these days. Tell me any changes in him as soon as possible. Our plan is about to start, and there must be no mistakes in the middle. Obito looked at Black Zetsu and said. Don't worry, I'm watching Nagato, there won't be any problems. Black Zetsu nodded. For them, Nagato is actually just a container of the samsara and a tool needed to revive Uchiha Madara. It was like this at the beginning, and it is even more so now. As for what this tool man thinks, it doesn't matter. The result is important. After leaving the rain village, Shisa appeared behind Tianyu without hesitation. Lord Tianyu. Shisa saluted respectfully. Shisu, during the time I entered the rain village, could anything else happen here? Tianyu looked at Shisa and asked. No, no one entered or left the rain village, but my Sharingan saw the mysterious man with the shit yellow mask and the aloe-like figure next to him. They seem to be plotting something, but you also know that my crow clone can't get close at all, so I don't know what they are talking about for the time being. Shisa replied. Well, very good, you did a good job, come back to Konoha with me, you don't have to monitor the rain village anymore. Tianyu nodded. He was about to take Shisu back. Yes, Lord Tengo, but I have another request. After I return to the village, I want to go find Itachi alone. If possible, I hope to bring Itachi back. Since the truth about the Uchiha clan has been revealed to the world, Konoha should restore the reputation of the Uchiha clan. Itachi went to the Akatsuki organization as an undercover agent. Now that he has left the organization, Konoha should accept him. Shisu couldn't help but say. After all, Uchiha Itachi was his promising junior. At the beginning, Itachi went to the Akatsuki organization with too much on his shoulders. He was almost killed by Danzo, but fortunately, Tengo was there and he survived. The truth about the Uchiha clan has also been revealed, so Uchiha Itachi, who is an undercover agent in this world, should also come back. If Uchiha Itachi is willing to come back, then Konoha will always welcome him, but now his whereabouts are a mystery. Although he has left the Akatsuki organization, he has not completely returned to Konoha. He even performed Tsukuyomi on Sasuke before. The current Uchiha Itachi is no longer the same person he used to be. I don't know what he thinks now. Shisu, if you want to find him, then you must not be soft-hearted. Uchiha Itachi did do a lot for Konoha in the past, and even bore the infamy, but it is not necessarily the case now. Tianyu did not want to think the worst of people. But now the attitude of the Uchiha clan in Konoha has long been reversed by him. If Sasuke is not with Orochimaru now, then Sasuke will definitely receive apologies from many people when he walks on the road of Konoha. Moreover, some of the Uchiha's property has long been returned by Konoha. The Uchiha clan land has also been preserved, and now it has all been returned to Sasuke's name. Chapter 272 Bringing back the Samsara Eye Sample. It can be said that no one will object to returning to Konoha now, and no one will look at you with tinted glasses. But Itachi hasn't come back yet. It means that he may have changed a long time ago. I know, But I believe that little Itachi is still the same as before, without any change. Shisu and Itachi have a very good relationship. Now Itachi has left the Akatsuki organization. Shisu naturally wants to bring Itachi back. Okay, then you go. Shianayu nodded in agreement. Yes, thank you, Lord Shianayu. Shisu was very excited. Then Shisu helped drag the sample of the hungry ghost path among the 6 paths of pain. The two continued to set off. After leaving the rain village for a distance, Shianayu put his hand on Shisu's shoulder. Then he performed the flying thunder god technique and left. After returning to Konoha, Shisu went to the Hokage's office to report to Tsunade and others. Shianayu brought a corpse of the hungry ghost path to the laboratory. In the laboratory, Orochimaru and the second Hokage were studying a corpse. The source of this corpse was a death row prisoner from Konoha. The criminal who was to be executed was put to good use. It was also a waste recycling. A row of Sharingan was planted on the arm of the corpse. These Sharingan were cultivated by Orochimaru using Sasuke's blood. However, after cultivation, they could not exert the corresponding power. They were not even enough to open the Magatama. This was far from the power of the Sharingan on the dead men that Orochimaru had studied before. But the two should not be confused. One is a disposable product, and the other is a long-term product. The effect and quality are completely different. Orochimaru, perhaps Uchiha Shin cells will suppress the generation of bloodline limits. Senju Tobirama said after looking at the changes in part of the corpse's cells under the microscope. Uchiha Shin cells can make a person who has been transplanted with the wood release cells have a balanced strength, so that he will not be completely devoured by the wood release cells. But such cells will also suppress the power of the Sharingan. And obviously they cannot be confused. Then remove Shin cells and try Sasuke's. Oh, by the way, I have Shisu's here. If possible, you can also give it a try. Orochimaru smiled and took out a pile of blood. Looking at the blood in the test tube, Senju Tobirama's eyelids twitched. He is a mad scientist, and he often studies some ninjutsu called forbidden techniques. But it is the first time that someone like Orochimaru can take out samples of bloodline limits at any time. It really surprised him. Don't worry, when I took the blood, I already asked for their consent, so there is no need to worry that what I did will be rejected by Konoha. Orochimaru looked at Senju Tobirama and smiled. He looked really innocent. Another experiment, the power of this corpse's Sharingan is very weak. Shianayu walked into the laboratory, first looked at the corpse on the stage, and shook his head. Well, it is indeed very weak. Without the support of bloodline power, although this Sharingan has been cultivated, it cannot exert its power and can only be viewed as a decoration. Orochimaru directly admitted that this thing is very weak. Is it possible to improve it? Shianayu asked with his arms folded. After all, if a disposable Sharingan wants to be used, it needs the life of another person as the price. But if a Sharingan that can be truly used is cultivated, it will also be a good thing for Konoha's strength improvement. Not for the time being, but Shianayu, have you brought back the sample of the Samsara eye that I want? Orochimaru turned and looked at Shianayu. There was expectation in his eyes. Samsara eye, this is the ultimate power in this world. The eyes of the 6 paths sage. I really don't know how powerful it is. If they can get this power, maybe they can also get the power of creation. Become a true godlike existence. Samsara eye, you actually asked for a sample of Samsara eye, Orochimaru, what are you thinking? Senju Tobirama folded his arms and stared at Orochimaru with a somewhat unfriendly look. Orochimaru is indeed a good partner in scientific research. He is also a good helper. But the research on the Sharingan is a bit too much, not to mention the Samsara eye. What else can I think? I just want to study it thoroughly. That is the eye of the leader of the Akatsuki organization. In a sense, he is our enemy. Orochimaru continued to smile, not frightened by Senju Tobirama's attitude at all. Orochimaru, don't study any forbidden techniques under the guise of scientific research. If you manipulate life and death and soul without authorization, you will eventually be swallowed by the god of death. This is my teaching to you. Senju Tobirama frowned slightly. Orochimaru's reason is very good. But for Senju Tobirama, it is better to be an upright ninja. Random tricks will only make people despise him. Don't worry, I won't do that. If I really do that, I'm afraid Aim will be the first one who won't let me go. Orochimaru looked at Aim and then at Senju Tobirama and smiled. You two are talking, don't get involved with me, Orochimaru. This is the sample of the Rinnegan you want, the corpse of the hungry ghost path, but I didn't bring back the heavenly path, so you can make do with it. After saying this, Tianyu took out the scroll. After unsealing it, the corpse of the hungry ghost path suddenly appeared in front of everyone. When Orochimaru saw the corpse of the hungry ghost path, his breathing became rapid. When he was still in the Akatsuki organization, he had seen the 6 paths of pain with his own eyes. When the 6 people attacked together, their strength was extremely powerful. And he also attacked the heavenly path, and after being completely defeated, he directly left the Akatsuki organization. Until now, every time Orochimaru recalled the power of the Rinnegan, he would feel trembling. And now, the corpse of the hungry ghost path is in front of him. This is enough to show that Tianyu's strength is above that of pain. This is the strength of a 13-year-old boy, which is really unfathomable. Oh, Tianyu, you are so great. Orochimaru's eyes were shining. He stretched out his tongue and licked it continuously, licking around his lips. That fanatical look made people shudder. Stop saying these words that may cause misunderstanding. I have brought back what you want. I hope your research can satisfy me. Otherwise, Orochimaru, I will not continue to provide you with these resources for nothing. Tianyu said while looking at Orochimaru with a smile. These words were also meant as a warning. After all, Tianyu did understand the power of the Samsara Eye. But if he wanted to use it, he still needed Orochimaru to do it. Chapter 273 Future Trends. This means that if Orochimaru tampered with the experiment, it would be difficult for him to find out. Of course, he still believed in Orochimaru. After all, although Orochimaru had defected, he was forced to do so. Now everything is clear. I believe that Orochimaru will not betray Konoha again. Of course, with this sample, I can study the Samsara Eye well. Believe me, I will make good use of this sample. Orochimaru naturally agreed. Now he can't wait to start the research. I will also keep a good eye on him. Senju Tobirama noticed Tianyu's expression and nodded to him. Okay, thank you. Tianyu smiled and nodded. Although Senju Tobirama is an old-fashioned guy, he will never do anything to threaten Konoha. With him by Orochimaru's side, Tianyu is still very relieved. After talking to Orochimaru and the others, Tianyu left the laboratory. After returning to the Hokage's office, Shisu had already reported the news to Tsunade. Seeing Tianyu coming, Shisu saluted. Tianyu, you're back. Tsunade saw Tianyu coming back, and the big stone in her heart finally fell to the ground. The Rain Village is the headquarters of the Akatsuki organization. Tianyu was able to go there and come back unscathed, which can already prove Tianyu's strength. Well, I'm back. I have also sent him the sample that Orochimaru wanted. Tsunade, are you okay? Tianyu said with a smile. You also said that I not only have to read so many documents every day, but also have to worry about whether you will get into trouble. It's really. Tsunade said and punched Tianyu in the chest. Tsunade naturally didn't use force in this blow. But even if she didn't use force, Tsunade's strange strength is not something that ordinary people can withstand. Tianyu took a step back and coughed. Tianyu, are you okay? Tsunade saw that Tianyu was uncomfortable and asked hurriedly. Shisu, you should leave first. Don't leave in a hurry. Go see Sasuke. You are the last members of the Uchiha clan. You should care for each other. Tianyu looked at Shisu and said. Yes, Lord Tianyu. After hearing this, Shisu was stunned for a moment. Then he lowered his head and left the Hokage's office. Ahem, Tsunade, I'm fine, but if you continue to hit me, I can't be sure if I'm okay. Tianyu patted his chest and smiled. Humph. Tsunade seemed to have heard the implication of Tianyu's words. She snorted coldly. But she didn't say much. Akatsuki will not give up so easily. In the future, they will definitely make big moves. We must be prepared. If necessary, we can summon all the ninjas in the village back, but this is the worst plan. Tianyu looked at Tsunade and started to talk about business. Well, I will, but there are too many ninjas on the mission. If they are recalled, Konoha will suffer economic losses. I suggest that we should pay more attention to their movements. Tsunade said after thinking for a long time. That's not a problem. This is something we need to pay attention to. However, given the situation in Rain Village, Uchiha Shisu is no longer suitable. We should send someone else. Tianyu looked at Tsunade and said. What happened to Shisu? Tsunade asked with some confusion after hearing this. Shisu's strength is still very strong. At least among Konoha's Jonin, there are very few who can beat Uchiha Shisu. He is too gentle, and his eyes are very important. If they fall into the hands of the enemy, the consequences will be disastrous, so we should send someone else to monitor him. Shianai replied. The effect of Kido Matsukami is powerful. In the original work, it is simply a bug-like illusion. It can change a person's thoughts silently, and the key is that the person who is hit is still unaware. If such eyes fall into the hands of the enemy, then at the beginning of the battle, they will be on guard against the enemy's use of the god of the gods. And they will not be able to exert their full strength. In this way, they will suffer on the battlefield. Well, I will send new people, and you should go home quickly. These days when you go out to perform tasks, Tiantian has been running to my office to complain to me, saying that she has become thinner after not seeing you for a few days. Tsunade couldn't help but say. What about Nizi? Tianyu couldn't help laughing when he heard this. Then I will go back first. If there is anything, just send someone to call me. Tianyu turned around and left after saying that. Tianyu, how are you, Hiko and the others? However, before Tianyu left the Hokage's office, Jiraiya came directly to Tianyu and asked anxiously. Obviously, Jiraiya was very worried about the current situation of the three of them. And because of the order of the master, he could not go to the Rain Village to meet Konan and the others in person. This made Jiraiya even more anxious. After all, he had raised those three disciples for 3 years, so they had developed feelings for each other. Moreover, they had a master-disciple relationship. If the disciples were on the road of no return, the master would be very sad. They are not good. Nagato and Konan have become members of the Akatsuki organization, and Yahiko has long been dead. Tianyu looked at Jiraiya and answered. Why is this the case? Yahiko is a very good child. He is used to taking care of Konan and Nagato in daily life. Among the three of them, Yahiko has always been the main one. At that time, I was sure that the three of them would definitely change the Rain Village in the future and fulfill their dreams, but why did it end like this? Jiraiya really couldn't figure it out. But this may be the fate of ninjas. Death is basically commonplace. It is very likely that you will step into this path in the next mission. And you don't know what your death will bring to your companions. Speaking of which, Yahiko's ending was also related to Shimura Danzo. If he hadn't colluded with Hanzo, Yahiko wouldn't have died. Speaking of which, Danzo acted for the benefit of Konoha in the Rain Village. If we go to the route to check those materials now, I believe we will be able to find the truth of the year. It's just a pity for Yahiko. Shianyu shook his head. He really felt a little sorry in his heart. Yahiko was indeed a very good person. If he was still alive, Akatsuki would definitely not become what it is now. And it will take a long time for Abido and others to control this organization. Chapter 274. This is destiny. But there are no ifs. And since it has already happened, there is no point in changing it. What we should do next is to change it as soon as possible. Jiraiya also shook his head helplessly when he heard this. Yahiko is the backbone of Nagato and Konan. He had already discovered this when he was teaching Nagato and Konan. But at that time, he didn't know that Yahiko's lifespan would be so short. Otherwise, maybe Jiraiya would bring Nagato and the others back to Konoha. But speaking of it, Jiraiya didn't bring Nagato and the others back to Konoha. Maybe it was a kind of luck. Otherwise, it is very likely that Danzo would set his sights on Nagato Samsara at that time. By that time, the fate of Nagato and Konan would be even more miserable than in the Akatsuki organization. After listening to Shianyu's words, Jiraiya didn't know what to say. In the end, he could only shake his head helplessly. Their fate can only be said to be a trick of fate. Okay, Jiraiya, stop thinking about this kind of thing. You have done your duty to them. As for what path they will take in the future, let them decide for themselves. Isn't there a saying? The master leads the way, and the practice is up to the individual. The strength of ability does not necessarily represent the growth of the mind. Instead of sighing here, it is better to cultivate the next generation as much as possible. Naruto is a very good seedling. I think his future achievements will be more outstanding than Nagato. Shianyu said with a smile. Well, yes, Naruto is really good. Jiraiya was persuaded by Shianyu and couldn't help but smile. Thinking of Naruto, that kid, although he is often called the first ninja in terms of unexpectedness. But he is also the most hardworking and diligent. Jiraiya is also very fortunate that he can still receive such a disciple at this age. This may be the favor of fate to him. Well, Then you guys chat first, I'll go back first. Tianyu smiled and said this, and then left the Hokage's office. After going to the market to buy some vegetables and fruits, as well as dishes that Tiantian and Hinata both liked, Tianyu returned home. When he returned home, Tianyu smelled the fragrance of food. After Tianyu put down the things in his hands in the kitchen, he saw that Tiantian was holding a recipe in his hand and was constantly flipping through the contents of the recipe. While cooking the soup, he flipped through it. Tiantian, it seems that your cooking skills are getting better and better. Tianyu said with a smile. Ah. Tiantian was frightened by Tianyu's sudden words, and the soup spoon in his hand was thrown out directly. Fortunately, Tianyu was very fast and he caught the soup spoon directly. Then he tasted the soup in the pot. Well, it tastes really good. Brother, why did you come in quietly? I was really scared. Tiantian acted like a spoiled child with some grievance. Tiantian, your vigilance is too poor. Fortunately, it was me just now. If it was an enemy, I'm afraid you would have already. Tianyu didn't say the rest of the words. But Tiantian obviously understood the meaning of Tianyu's words. HMPH, stinky brother, you are the one who scares me here, and this is my own home. If I have to be vigilant every day, what's the difference between that and the battlefield? Brother, you are just making excuses. I don't care. I will punish you today, wash all the dishes after dinner, and then, you have to be responsible for training us. Tiantian smiled cunningly. He looked like a little fox. Okay, I will listen to you today. Tianyu smiled and rubbed Tiantian's head. After experiencing a battle, the warmth of the family is the thing that Tianyu cherishes most. Tianyu. Hinata also walked in from outside. At this time, Hinata had long hair draped over her shoulders, wearing a simple casual outfit, and an apron in front of her. She looked innocent and cute. Tianyu was delighted. He hadn't seen Hinata for several days, and he really missed her. Hinata, have you been well these days? Tianyu asked with a smile. Well, although I'm a little worried about you, I'm doing pretty well. Teacher Yuhikirani said that I've made a lot of progress recently, both in physical skills and illusions. My father has also taught me a lot of family secrets. The teacher said that we can try to take a C-level mission in 2 days. If everyone can complete it safely, we can try to do a B-level mission. Hinata said shyly. Well, that's great. I'm looking forward to your active performance in the mission. Tianyu smiled. No, I actually want to become stronger too, because only by becoming stronger can I be qualified to stand by Tianyu's side. It was only this time that I heard from my father that although the Hyuga clan is the largest clan in Konoha, Tianyu's contribution to Konoha has probably surpassed the Hyuga clan. Let alone other things, Tianyu has redressed the grievances of many large clans in Konoha. Many people can't compare to you. So I have to work hard too. I don't want to be the one who holds Tianyu back. Hinata is a girl who looks weak. But in fact, she is very determined. Once she has an idea in her heart, she will definitely do it, no matter how many difficulties and obstacles there are. And now he wants to stand by Tianyu's side and become a person who can match Tianyu. Then Hinata will work hard in this direction. Well, I believe you can do it. Tianyu was very moved. He couldn't help but hug Hinata. Okay, brother, sister-in-law Hinata, hurry up and clean up for dinner. I was hungry all day when I was training today. I think I can eat 3 bowls of rice in one breath, so don't feed me your dog food here, I can't stand it. Tiantian pretended to be unbearable and said. It was this sentence that successfully made everyone laugh. Okay, then let's go to eat, and feed her dog food after dinner, so that Tiantian can eat well. Tianyu said with a smile. Ah, bad brother. Tiantian couldn't help chasing Tianyu after hearing this. There was a burst of laughter in the room. Soon dinner was served, and the 3 people had dinner. After talking for a while, Tianyu sent Hinata back home and came back to clean up the kitchen. This was Tiantian's punishment for him, and he had to do it. At night, the kitchen window was wide open, and the night breeze kept blowing into the kitchen. It seemed so cool and comfortable. Occasionally, there were a few cicadas and birds singing outside, which seemed so amazing and peaceful. Everything was so peaceful. Chapter 275, Akatsuki's Gathering. If the world could remain peaceful like this, it would be a very good thing. Rain Village. It still rains all year round, And the fog is all around, so you can't see the surroundings clearly. It is always filled with cold colors, without any temperature. Even if the rain hits people, it seems to bring a biting cold. This is almost a city that has lost all the laughter. The people living here don't show smiles on their faces, but numbness. They live like zombies every day. Even if there are ninjas dying, it doesn't stir their nerves for them. Because death here is a very normal thing. If there is no death in the mission team one day, it will be surprising. On the highest tower of Rain Village. Pine, everyone is here, it's time to go to the meeting. Xiaonan came out of the room and looked at Pine Shyandao and said. Because of his poor health, Nagato can only stay in the room all year round. But every time at this time, Nagato will silently control Pine Shyandao, standing on the highest tower, looking around. Konan knew that it was Nagato who was using his own eyes to see the world instead of Yahiko. Every time this happened, Konan would miss Yahiko more and more. She missed a man who could bring them laughter and joy anytime and anywhere in the team. However, Konan also knew that Yahiko was dead. He died in the drizzle of that year. So from then on, the rain in the Rain Village would no longer stay. Because this meant that the son of Nagato and Konan had fallen forever. I understand, but I want to stay outside for a while. Pain Tendao didn't look at Konan, but looked outside, and said expressionlessly. Pain, don't think too much. The words that person said before were obviously meant to disturb you. Now we have already recognized our goals, right? Peace, the Moon Eye Project, this is our mission. As long as the Moon Eye Project can be completed, everyone in this world can fall into peace. So some necessary sacrifices are enough to complete that plan, because as long as the plan can be completed, everyone will fall into peace, there will be no more wars, and everything we cherish can be back. Xiaonan couldn't help but persuade Pain. But it's better to say that Xiaonan is brainwashing herself with the Moon Eye Project again than persuading Pain. Because Xiaonan firmly believes that after the Moon Eye Project is completed, they will be able to see Yahiko again. They can achieve the peace that Yahiko wants. For this, they can keep working hard. Even if they become pawns in the hands of others and manipulated by others. Yes, as long as the Moon Eye Project can succeed, everything is worth it. Pain, no, it should be, Nagato said. Well, that's right. Everyone is here and is waiting for you. Don't let them wait too long. Let's go back first. Xiaonan said with a smile. Okay, let's go. After hearing this, Pine turned around and entered the room with Xiaonan. The room in the tower was still the same as outside. It was pitch black here, and it was almost impossible to see who was standing opposite you. But everyone was used to this darkness. If they turned on the lights at this moment, they would not be used to each other's appearance. Because they themselves were mercenaries hiding in the darkness. They could not appear in the light. You are finally back. I don't know what's so good about the rain outside. It often takes a whole day to look at it. It's just those boring buildings. Dieter held his head and couldn't help saying. You don't understand this. Isn't it the leader's job to patrol the territory? The red sand scorpion hid in the amber puppet and said sarcastically. What is there to patrol this territory? Isn't it all covered in rain? Even if your eyesight is good, I don't think you can see the border. Dieter looked disdainful. He's from Iwagakure, his master is Inoki, and his junior sister is Kuratsuchi. He had a bright future in Iwagakure. If it weren't for Uchiha Itachi, Dieter would never stay in Akatsuki. And now Uchiha Itachi has left Akatsuki without authorization, which makes Dieter very dissatisfied. He hasn't been able to have a good competition with Uchiha Itachi. After all, he often concentrates his chakra on his left eye, with the purpose of breaking the illusion of Uchiha Itachi's Sharingan. And now that Uchiha Itachi has left the organization, this preparation cannot be implemented. It's really a bit uncomfortable. In the place where he lives, it basically doesn't rain. So at first he was a little curious about the Rain Village. But since he knew that it rained all the time here, Dieter has lost interest. After all, there is nothing fun in the Rain Village, and it is not even as big as the Iwagakure. This makes him lose interest in this village even more. I don't know why their leader is so obsessed with the Rain Village. After all, with the strength of their Akatsuki organization, even a country can be easily conquered. Wouldn't it be much better to live in the gorgeous daimyo's mansion than here? But Dieter didn't say this. After all, the Achilles heel of this Pine and Konan in front of him is the Rain Village. If he dislikes this village in front of them, it is very likely to usher in a rampage. Ahem, everyone, be quiet. This time, We gathered everyone here just because our Akatsuki organization has been silent for too long. Half a year has made the 5 major countries forget our strength. Now they have begun to pursue peace blindly and indulge in false peace. Now we should teach them a lesson and let them know that the peace in front of them is false. The real reality is turbulent. Black Zetsu appeared from the ground, looked at everyone and smiled. That's right, art is explosion. I can't wait to let others feel the beauty of my art. At the moment of destruction, everyone can feel the taste of art. That is the best power. Deidara began to get excited when he heard this. Eternity is the real art, while explosion can only bring destruction. Scorpion looked at Deidara with disdain. After all, the explosion is only a matter of a moment, and even if it has beauty, it is fleeting. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.